At Monahan Jewelers, our jewelry repair is done in-house by expert craftsmen, and Monahans can turn around most repairs in a day or two. So bring your jewelry repair to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Andy's Automotive, Tire, and Truck Service. Jaguars offensive lineman Walker Little was a guest of The Scoop with Mia O'Brien and spoke about what he loves most about Jacksonville.
I consider the golf because I love it so much, but the beach is also just incredible. Living so close to the beach, and I just think there's a lot of pride in this city, which is really cool. I mean, obviously growing up in Texas, the state of Texas has a lot of pride, but I've never really been in a city that's had so much pride for its city, and it's really cool.
Walker Little, a guest of The Scoop with Mia O'Brien. This update brought to you by Andy's Automotive and Truck Service, LLC. You can catch The Scoop on the 1010XL social channels. 91 degrees at 3:02. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Frank, Hayes, Lauren, and Gibby. The Frangie Show starts now on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, welcome in, guys, along for the ride on this Wednesday installment of the program on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, Lauren Brooks, Andrew Gibson. Man, football's around the corner. Media days next week, camp the week after that. Can't wait. But pretty good hardball last night, Brooks. Did you watch it?
I watched most of it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I wasn't locked in
Yeah.
like I was the night before, but yeah, it was good.
Did you watch any?
I watched very, very little.
Yeah?
Very little.
How about you, Gib?
I watched a bunch of it, and I was pulling for a tie because I'd forgotten that if the All-Star game is tied after 9 innings, they go to a home run derby off.
Yeah, I was kind of pulling for it not to be a tie for that reason.
Why?
I thought we saw 28 hours of derby on Monday night.
Yeah, but you get 3 swings this time.
Yeah, no, I get it. That
would be cool to see.
You're right. It would have been interesting. It would have been. So, yeah, that's how they decided now. That was a fantastic game. I hated the uniforms. And I didn't want to be like everybody in the world's talking about those. For people that don't know, forever, the All-Star game, you wore your uniform. Pirates, Braves, Yankees wore their own uniforms. They didn't wear. And what happened is if the American League team was the home team, like last night, all the American League team would wear their whites, and all the National League team would wear their grays. So everyone wears a white home and a gray away for the most part. It's one of their, now they have multiple uniforms, but everyone's got that. And I loved it. And I understand why they went away from it, because they're trying to sell these. Everything's a revenue play now. So they have these brand new uniforms.
Why would you buy one of those?
Yeah, well, correct, right? I mean, why would you want one of those?
Right.
But everything's a revenue play now, and so everyone's they expect they'll do very well in sales, and I get that. But why not just have those? Use those for the home run derby, and sell those off. By the way, did they have different ones for the derby? What did they wear for the derby? I should know. I watched it.
No, it was pretty sure it was the same. If I'm getting it wrong, I can't remember.
Did
but
they wear their own uniforms in the Derby?
I don't remember. How do I not remember that? But I don't remember it. Maybe they wore. I don't remember what they wore in the Derby. Yeah, I think they wore their own, didn't they?
I think they did.
So maybe that's what they did. They wore their own in the Derby, and then they wore these. I didn't like them. They didn't like them at all. So
just wear your own jerseys and put All-Star Game patch on the sleeve.
Yeah, correct.
That's all you have to do.
And by the way, I think they did do that back in the day.
And that's what they should still do.
I really, if they are going to go to these uniforms, which I think are
get
silly,
better ones.
Well, or at least be able to wear your own hat, your team's hat.
Yeah.
So that way people know. Because I'm sure a lot of people watching may not necessarily know which teams these guys come from.
Yeah, so I but it was a fantastic game. It was a fun watch. You know the best part of it? Gibby, you probably saw, they mic'd all the players. They mic'd a lot of players while they played. They've always done that. You know what I've never seen them do ever? Mic a pitcher while he's pitching.
Yeah.
They mic'd Josh Hader while he was – were you watching them, Lauren?
Yeah.
You didn't see that?
I did not.
You saw it, didn't you, Gibby?
Oh, yeah.
He's pitching. and they're saying, "Hey, Josh, hey, you want Smoltzy to call a pitch for you?" And he's to the belt. He goes, "Yeah, have him throw it." And he's throwing a pitch while he's talking. I thought it was fantastic.
You could never do that in a real game.
Of course not. I mean,
that's what made it fun.
Yeah, but I mean, he's throwing he wasn't huffing and puffing, and he's talking to Joe Davis and Smoltz, letting a pitch go, and then throwing it about 98. I love it.
It's funny because Liam Hendricks, the closer for the White Sox, they mic'd him up a couple years ago, and he forgot. And he was like, F this, F that, just throwing them all out there. And the catcher runs out there, and he's like, dude, you're mic'd up.
Is that while he was pitching?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
While he was pitching, and they're like, but they weren't talking to him. It was just a regular mic'd up, and he just forgot. And he's like, every time he throws a pitch, he's cussing. And the catcher's like, dude, you're mic'd up.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, I forgot.
It was a really fun watch last night, so it was good watch.
Did they have the pitch clock last night? I didn't even pay that close of attention.
I never saw him show it.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
Didn't somebody get called because he was being interviewed? Someone
Yeah,
had a strike because
yeah.
Jeter and those guys were talking to him.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool too. Jeter and Poppy and
That was funny, especially considering they were just chowing down on popcorn.
that
in
was
the middle
hilarious.
of
Yeah,
it.
it was a good telecast.
Yeah,
It
was good.
They did a good job.
Uniforms were bad.
Yeah, they did a good job with the telecast. So it was fun. It was fun to watch last night. So it was a good watch last night. All right, a lot of things to get to today on the program. Are you going to watch the quarterback on Netflix?
Yeah.
Looks good, doesn't it?
It does look good. I like the clips that I've seen so far. The couple of Mahomes that have been put out there, entertaining, funny, shows an edge to him that I'm curious to see if I think Trevor Lawrence is starting to find that edge.
Yeah.
But there's a scene that's out on Twitter where Mahomes is going at it with Max Crosby.
Right.
And in the clip, the Raiders are up 17-0.
Right.
And Mahomes throws a touchdown, and his reaction to that, and you got to have that. I mean, to the point where Andy Reid's got to kind of settle him down. Mahomes comes across as very mild-mannered, soft-spoken, but absolutely that clip kind of shows you the edge he plays with, and that's something that I think you have to be great. And I think Trevor's starting to show that, and it'll be developed even more.
It'll be fun watching it just to see because, I mean, a lot of times the mic'd up stuff, and the Jaguars.com folks do such a good job with it. You hear stuff that we're never going to hear otherwise. Well, this quarterback thing, I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. And it showed the one I just saw, the latest clip when he got hurt in the Jaguars game. Have you seen that one yet?
Mm-mm.
And how upset he is that he hurt his foot. He's running to the locker room, and it's really cool. And I just saw the clip, and it's really cool.
It'll be interesting to see how they balance the at-home stuff,
Yeah.
the family versus the on-field
Yeah.
stuff. How much do we get to hear of their teammates talking to them? That part
Yeah.
I think is going to be interesting.
And I'm guessing, and I don't know the background of it. Who mic'd him? Was it the teams that mic'd him, and the teams let the Netflix folks have it, or was this part of
I would think it's a Netflix production.
the whole time? The whole thing.
I would think.
The background, the miking, the editing, everything.
It's from NFL Films and Omaha Productions. I don't know if that's Peyton's company, but that would make sense if it is. But NFL Films, I would guess all last season must have had access.
all in it together.
Yeah.
So interesting. So, and right, and I don't know enough about how the streaming services work. I don't know if third parties do some of these and sell them to Netflix. And there's probably some of that. And to your point, there's probably some that Netflix, that's just what they do. So there's probably some combination.
And
yes.
Netflix just paid big for a Jerry Jones 10-part series that I don't know when they want to launch it.
Yeah.
But, I would think the earliest would be 24.
Yeah, you would think. So anyway.
Aren't you
Omaha
ready for the?
Productions is Peyton Manning. Sorry, Gibby.
That makes sense. Aren't you ready for the Gator one to come out?
Yeah, and that's August. And
23rd?
I think Netflix did that one.
Yes.
But that wasn't that was a looking back at. That wasn't but yes, to your question, I can't wait to watch that one. But I think that's a bunch of interviews after the fact. It's not like anybody was mic'd up during.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it.
I'm excited. I will say it's going to be hard for me not to hit fast forward when they're in the Mariota part.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's very good.
Yeah.
He lost his job.
Yeah.
He's never going to be a starter again.
Yeah.
Cousins, I'm intrigued by to see if my opinion of him changes at all. Mahomes will be obviously worth the price of admission because he's the greatest.
Because he's Mahomes.
Greatest going today, yeah. But that's the only thing that I think that if they had to obviously do it again, they might have picked a different third.
Yeah.
But it'll still be interesting seeing how Mariota prepares. That's the one that I'll be curious if it's a third basically, if that's how they divvy it up. 10% of it is Cousins and 10% of it is Mariota.
Yeah. I think the problem I perceive with Marcus Mariota isn't just what you said, that he's not a relevant player. It's that he also doesn't come across as someone who'd be very controversial either.
Right.
You can be a not relevant player, but look, Gardner Minshew might be a backup, but if they did one of these things with Minshew, I think it'd be wildly entertaining because he's an entertaining guy. You know, I don't. The problem with and we don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but my fear with Mariota is not only is he not a relevant player, to your point, but I'm not sure he's a very entertaining guy. You know, I think that's one of the things.
I would think they're smart enough to have figured out which 3 quarterbacks would at least give them something entertaining. It's got to be better than what we would presume. By the way, they mic'd him up once a week during practice and then every game.
Oh, they did?
They did.
Okay.
So they had certainly much more access than anyone's ever had.
How about Patrick Mahomes was mic'd up the entire season? Patrick Mahomes was, that's like Michael Jordan being mic'd up for an entire season.
It really should just be Mahomes.
Yeah, you would think,
with
right?
apologies to Cousins
I
and
agree.
Mariota, they should just
We
be
don't
like,
care about y'all.
yeah, thank you guys for doing this, but
Appreciate you stopping by.
yeah,
You'll be in the credits at the end.
Yeah, we have a quarterback that just won the Super Bowl on one leg. It's going to be all about him.
Right. We have Michael Jordan here. We don't need Jack Sigma.
Right.
Or whoever. Right. I get it. All right. A lot to talk about today on the program. Glad you were with us. Mia did a fun thing on her scoop with Walker Little. But I got thinking about Walker Little, and I know you were on on Jacksonville on Jaguars today, and talked about how you think the offensive line thing is going to play out when Cam comes back. I got some thoughts about that. And it's going to lead me to another fun Jaguar topic. So we're going to start with some Jaguars. Never a bad thing to talk about today. We'll talk a little bit about Media Days around the corner. Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth had some comments about Jay Monahan I thought were very interesting. We got a lot of fun stuff. We will get back to that All-Star game last night. Look ahead to baseball. Got all kind of fun stuff coming up. Glad you're with us. It's a Wednesday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Life is a lot like football.
Life's this game of inches. So is football. The inches we need are everywhere around us. On this team, we fight for that inch.
1010XL. Now, the Florida Gator Report on 1010XL. Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing.
The MLB draft took place over the weekend. Florida outfielder Wyatt Langford made history as the second highest Gator to ever be selected as the Rangers took him with the 4th overall pick. The Braves made Hurston Waldrop the 6th highest pitcher in Gator history to be selected, going 24th to Atlanta, and Brandon Sproat was selected by the Mets with the 56th overall pick.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie, and I want to thank Coach Ellen and the team at Darley's for providing all the plumbing work for a brand new walk-off charities building that's being built. Being a San Souci guy, I've known the team at Darley's for years. They're a company I trust for my plumbing needs, and you can too.
Thanks for those kind words, Frank. At Darley's Plumbing, we don't just do residential house calls. We're your first draft pick for commercial business plumbing too. Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground, and if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong, and we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daly's Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
If you miss any interviews from your favorite coaches and players at All Weather Contractors SEC Media Days presented by South State Bank, catch them on demand at 1010XL.com. Brought to you by Instant Keys and Baptist Bariatrics.
Frank Frangie here. Do you find yourself straining to catch every word, missing out on the sweet sounds of life? Then you need to go to see Jerry Howard at Ponte Vedra Hearing Associates. His team will assess your hearing needs with a free screening and recommend a personalized solution. Ponte Vedra Hearing Associates offers professional quality hearing health care with the most competitive pricing. Call 404-5108. That's 404-5108 or visit pontevedrahearing.com today.
Oh boy, not again.
Do you feel this way every time there's rain in the forecast? Amy Salt, owner of CrossFit Salt to Tear in the Riverside area, definitely did.
I had major rain anxiety from all the water collecting outside my gym. That's why I'm so happy I reached out to Clearwater Drainage. John came out, designed a system that moved the water off of my property, and all my kettlebells are now dry. I'm sleeping so much better at night.
Clearwater Irrigation.
And drainage, too.
ClearwaterJacks.com.
ET here, Brackish Vodka, Jacksonville produced and distilled. A gluten-free corn-based vodka is the smoothest vodka you've ever had. Because it's mineral salt filtered after being distilled 5 times, you get the smoothest vodka on the market. And it's made right here in Jacksonville. When you drink gluten-free Brackish Vodka, you are supporting a local business and not a business based in Texas. Taste why 9 out of 10 people pick Brackish Vodka in a blind taste test. Drink like a local. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting, prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Honey-do list around the house just getting longer? First Coast Home Pros has handyman services you can trust. From bathroom remodeling to home repairs, First Coast Home Pros has you covered. Go to firstcoasthomepros.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
All right, so here's my thought. Recap what you said on Jaguars today, that you think that the day Cam Robinson walks back from suspension, he's the left tackle.
Correct.
Expound on that.
He's making $18 million a year, or it's 15 now. But he's it's just how the NFL works, and it's something the Jaguars acknowledge. So the day that Cam Robinson is eligible, I think even if Walker Little is playing well, Cam Robinson becomes the starting left tackle. You have to keep in mind, they like Cam Robinson more than any of us probably do.
Well, I think Cam Robinson's a good player.
See, I don't think he's necessarily a good player. I think he can. I think at times he's good. I think as a player he's probably above average to, maybe he's somewhere between, to me, above average and good. But I think they still value him. I think they're the way they view Cam Robinson is that he is a good to very good player. And, again, because of his contract number, I think he's absolutely, the day he's eligible, the starting left tackle.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I understand why Hayes believes that. I just tend to think that if Walker Little plays extraordinarily well, Doug Peterson's not going to make any changes right away.
Yeah, it's not. There's some gray in there. I think they want Cam Robinson to be their left tackle. I think that's what they want. I think if the suspension never happened, that Walker Little might have been their left guard. Might have gotten a look at left guard. You agree with that?
Sure. Yeah,
because they like him too, by
last
the way.
year.
Yeah. So I
think they have a center, they have a right guard, and we think they have a right tackle.
Yeah, they've got correct. They've got a center and a right guard. We know that. There's no debating that. They used a first-round draft pick on a right tackle, so they certainly hope that's a right tackle. Here's where I'm going with this, and I'm gonna. This is gonna grow into some other topics too. I get a hunch Walker Little might be really good. I mean, I got a hunch he may be a guy that people want to pay for. Juwan Taylor became really good. Had a really good year, reliable, healthy. You're convinced that Cam Robinson, if you think he's just a pretty good player, then he's not a star. And he's never really been a star. I mean, I don't think around the league they thought he was a star. I think around the league they thought he was a solid left tackle.
Right.
I don't think he's ever been recognized or considered or called a star. Right. Okay. I don't think there's a star there. I think Walker Little might be a star. Now I'm going to move on that a little bit, but you agree with that? You think there could be a star in there?
I think there could be. He played really well last year.
Really well.
And that was really his first action at the position.
What do you think?
Probably not a star.
Okay.
Probably a serviceable to good tackle.
Yeah. And maybe that's where it lands. But I think he could be. I think this. Obviously he's the left tackle, and they hope Anton Harrison's the right tackle for the first 4 games. And I kind of agree with you, Hayes. I think they would like Cam Robinson to suddenly be their left tackle. They'd like Cam Robinson to be their left tackle when he comes back. But if Walker Little's playing at a very high level, and they grade him now. I mean, it's not just, hey, he's playing pretty well. They grade every play, every snap, everything. I think then, based on whether it's Shatley, Barch, or whoever, they're going to grade him too. And I think probably one thing in mind is, does Walker Little move to left guard, play left guard for 10, 12 games, and then next year? Because Cam Robinson's probably not here next year. Would you agree with that?
You know, it's funny. You would think that, but I don't think it can be discounted that he isn't. You know, I mean, again, if their evaluation of him is that, you know, he's playing well, I would think he's not, but I also never thought they'd re-sign him. So his cap number next year is 22.7. Would they restructure that and push some money out? Would they or agree to an extension with him? I don't know. I would say he's probably not a Jaguar next year, but if he were to come off the suspension, if the suspension wakes something up in him and he has a really good 13 games in the regular season and plays well in the playoffs, I don't think they're going to release or trade their starting left tackle that's just 29 years old if they feel like they've got a really good player there.
Yeah, and it also depends on what happens. Is Walker Little playing more left tackle this season than Cam Robinson? If that's the case, then yeah, Cam Robinson's no longer here.
And again, I think if you ask them off the record, and I haven't, by the way, I'm not saying this is wink wink. I know I'm not telling. I haven't. Who they think the starting left tackle will be in the 2024 season? I think they would tell you Walker Little. I think that's what they would tell you, given the cap hit for Cam Robinson, given the fact that he's been good, not great. So I think that's where they're going to head. So it got me thinking a little bit. Who are the potential stars? Tyson Campbell.
Yep.
Potential star. I mean, he's the first guy that comes to mind, right? Obviously, Trevor and Trayvon. They were 1-1, so there's the potential, obviously, for Trevor. Trayvon Walker.
Travis.
Who else?
Etienne.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Travis Etienne is a potential star.
We're in the TR category.
Yeah.
Trevor, Trayvon, Travis.
I think Etienne's a potential star. So
Devin Lloyd.
Is Devin Lloyd a potential star?
If he gets it figured out, he will be a star.
What do you think?
I concur.
Yeah.
I think Devin Lloyd.
Yeah, I'll come with you on that.
Yeah, and he has some versatility too. What's interesting?
He looks like a guy that can do a lot of things. I mean, that doesn't mean he has to play a lot of positions, because guys that play a lot of positions often don't have one position. You can play one position but do a lot of things out of that position. I agree with that.
Can you say Calvin Ridley? I don't know, because he's been a star already.
He's been a star, yeah, I think so. I mean, what's his contract situation, Hayes, after this year?
He's in the final year of his deal.
No, I know that, but I mean, what will he command? He has a good year.
$20 million.
Yeah, 20, probably right. Yeah, and I mean, if he has a good year, okay. Do you try and I would think, because he could be a potential star too. So we've come up with a couple guys on defense. Are we missing anybody? Now, there's some that could surprise us. I mean, Andre Cisco could surprise you, and all of a sudden he's Ronnie Lott. But I mean, guys that we should logically be projecting.
Brenton Strange potentially. He could be given a bigger role if Evan Ingram's not here, or
Yeah, a little hard for me. It's hard for me to put a rookie there. You might be right, but even with Harrison, it's hard for me to put a rookie there until I've seen him a little bit, just a little bit of what he looks like in a pro uniform and when he's moving around pro guy. But I hear you. Well, who else?
Are you counting Aluakon as a current star?
No, he can count. He can count.
Then Aluakon
led the league in tackles for a handful of years.
Will be much more comfortable in year 2 here.
Yeah,
with a defensive coordinator that's not doing it for the first time.
Yeah, you could be a star without being a flashy star, can't you? Because Aluakon's a good call, but he's not flashy. You know, he's not. You're just going to look up and you didn't notice him as much, other than the 17 tackles he made. Right? He's that guy.
Yeah, I think every NFL player knows who Foye Aluakon is.
I agree.
I don't know that every NFL fan necessarily knows who he is.
Yeah, and you could be a star without being. I mean, I don't know that Zach Thomas was showing up on tape everywhere or showing up on. I shouldn't say that. Showed up on tape. He made a lot of tackles. I don't know that Zach Thomas was showing up on SportsCenter highlights very often. He was just tackling you until you looked up 8 years later and he tackled everybody. Right? I think he's that guy. So
What about Tank Bigsby?
Well, again, I don't know yet about the rookies. Maybe. But I think with all those guys, Gibby, I think with Anton Harrison, Tank, Strange, I want to see him in a pro uniform. But, yeah, maybe. I think
Fortner.
And you know what? He's in the Aluakon category, isn't he?
Right.
No one's going to notice. No one notices the best center in the league. No one notices Alex Mack until he's done it for 9 years, right?
Until he's making $18 million a year,
right?
And then people are like, "Oh, he must be pretty good."
That's right. That's exactly
Same with
right.
Devon Hamilton. He might be a star, but I don't think people are going to be talking about him.
Yeah, you know why? You know why though? Because he's not going to be a guy. It's gotten to where back in the day, defensive tackle just clogged you up. Now defensive tackles, they want to see you in the backfield, But he's a good player. But I would say if I had a list, Trevor and Trayvon are top of the list because of where they were drafted. But I would say after Trevor Lawrence, I think Tyson Campbell might be the top of my list. You could make that argument, couldn't you?
I would certainly agree with that.
Yeah, I think he may be the top of the list. I think he's the
I think ETN then would be right behind.
Right there. I agree. I think he's right there. I think ETN is right there. I think
and
he might be the top of the list. I hear you.
Playmakers, skill position guys are easier to be stars because of fantasy, because of stats, all that.
And he's got a flashy style to him, doesn't he? Yeah, I was on with Mark Vandermeer today on his stuff in Houston, the play-by-play voice of the Texans, and he asked me. He made a good point. He's watching. It's fun to talk to guys who are kind of watching from afar, and he's a guy watching from afar, and he's a guy that he said where that's Trevor and blah blah blah. He goes, I think Travis Etienne is really good. He said I think the Jags have a mega star running back. This is Vandermeer. He said, I said, no, I agree with you. In fact, and give you to your point about Bigsby, it'll be interesting to see, is Etienne more explosive if he's used less? Is he more explosive with fewer touches? Because you got to believe Dearness Johnson in the offseason and then Tank Bigsby very high in the draft. The idea was at least have somebody else do some of the downhill running. Because that's not really how Etienne. Now, Etienne's a very good run between the tackles guy. But you know what I mean? It feels that way. I wonder if Etienne's even better if he's getting some rest.
He is. Our good buddy D-Rock had a fantastic stat for us last week that Etienne averaged 8.1 yards a carry when he ran off tackle.
Okay.
So when he runs to the outside, he led the league. I want to say D-Rock had it at 8.1. Was it 8.1 or 8.3? I think it was 8.1.
I think it was 8.1.
And then, which is just a ridiculous average. That's something you'd see in like high school football. And to do it in the NFL is just unheard of. And then so then my next question to him was, well, how big of a gap was that? Because it seems extraordinary. And the next highest I think was 7.3. So to your point, now when he runs between the tackles, he's pedestrian. The average was like right at 4 yards a carry. And his average for the season was 5.1, which is spectacular. But the reason it was so spectacular is because of how effective he was running it to the outside. So now you've got Etienne, and you'll have to balance it somewhat. You can't, you'll have to break tendencies and stuff like that. But to your point, if Etienne is utilized more for running to the outside and Bigsby can be the effective between the tackles, I mean, they're going to be a monster in the ground game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that'll be the interesting part when training camp comes, because we've all been impressed with Bigsby when we've seen him thus far, but we have yet to see the pads go on and things like that. What does he look like once tackles are being able to be made, once, we see live action?
Do you remember the first thing Press Taylor said about Etienne? You remember the quote?
Speed.
He said the speed is real.
Yeah.
Remember that? The sentence. What do you think of Etienne? What stands out about Etienne? He looked at us and he said, the speed is real. And he had a look on his face like, he's been around the league enough. He's a young guy, but he's been around it now. And he's you don't when a coach that's been around football all his life and around the NFL for a long time, and his eyes get big when he uses the word speed, you could tell this is something that's not normal in Etienne.
I really think Etienne is one of the most under-talked about storylines on the team. You're talking about a kid who had a Liz Frank injury as a rookie. He then comes back for year 2, really learned nothing. I mean, he, by his own admission, admits he learned nothing from the Urban Meyer regime.
Right.
So really kind of a lost rookie year. Gets healthy, comes in, has to learn a new system, has to get acclimated now to playing in the NFL now that he's healthy. And all he does is go out and have 1,440 yards of total offense in the regular season with a 5.1 yards per carry on the ground. Now that he knows what he's doing, he could be really explosive this year. And the beauty of it is no defense is ever going to focus on stopping him first.
Well, that was kind of Vandermeer's point of what he could be, and Lauren's point when he's the first guy you mentioned about potential stars. It's all there. And I agree with you. I think we don't talk about it. For whatever reason, he doesn't make the conversation. Trevor, Trayvon, Josh Allen last year, Calvin Ridley's here, this. He doesn't make the conversation, does he? That's a great point. Doesn't make the conversation. He's, like, really good. James Robinson 3 years ago made the conversation way more, didn't he? I mean, we were always talking about James Robinson. I mean, every conversation started with James Robinson, it seemed like.
Because the better your quarterback, the less you talk about your running back.
Yeah, that's
you're
right.
Focused on the passing game. By the way, one other potential star I just thought of, Jamal Agnew.
It's a return guy.
As a return guy and as a sneaky receiver.
Yeah, I don't know that there's going to be if everybody's healthy, I don't know that they're going to be able to find many balls for him as a receiver. But could he be Devin Hester? Devin Hester.
He can't be Devin Hester.
Okay, well only because nobody can.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, but the only reason he can't be Devin Hester is because nobody can.
Exactly.
But can he be whatever?
Can he be elite?
Yeah. Can he be elite as a returner? Because there is star value there.
We saw some of that last season.
Yeah.
What wasn't it, the Titans game where we all say there's no way that the Jaguars are able to do anything on offense without his spark.
You know something about him? He is well liked. He's a good teammate.
He's fantastic.
He does whatever he's asked to do. If he's the 4th, 5th receiver, if he's the return guy, he's I agree with you.
And Brandon McManus, I don't think he can go in this category because as far as kickers go, he's been a star. Same. I mean, if you can be a star.
Yeah, kicking's interesting because here's what's funny, and maybe I'm way off on this. Used to be the great kickers were stars. I don't think they are anymore because I think everybody expects them to make everything, and if you miss, then you're not good. Nobody talks about great kickers anymore because they all make everything.
Really, the only one that I would say in current that would be considered is Justin Tucker.
Yeah, the only one.
I think he's the only kicker in the league right now that I think everybody.
That's because
in
he's
the
always
NFL
made
market,
everything. Yeah,
and he makes them from 60. Routinely.
But all the other guys, it used to be if you had 2 or 3 Justin Tuckers, they were the stars of the league. Now it's harder because you expect them all to be that, and you hear way more talk nowadays about the kicker that started missing kicks, and than you do about the guy making them. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Because the making them you expect. I don't know if I love that. I didn't mind it back in the day where, back in the day, 40-yard field goals were not automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Now 50-yard field goals are automatic. Hey, if you miss a 50-yarder now, isn't it crazy?
If you miss 55 yards, I think people are like, it's not very good.
Yeah, that's right. But if you miss
kicker.
But if you miss a 50-yarder, you're cut.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it crazy?
Oh, it's
how good it's gotten.
There's only 32 of these jobs in the world.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
I mean,
that's right.
it is it's a pressure cooker every week. And I to your point, I mean, I'd have zero problem with the competition committee bringing in the posts a little bit.
Yeah. Or do something.
Just a little. I'm not saying radically. I'm not saying a foot and a half on each side, but just a little bit. Make it a little bit more of an accuracy
challenge.
I agree. I would like that too. And when they brought the hashes in, however many years ago, they used to have the college hashes. You know, the NFL there's really not a kick. Every kick now is in front of the goalpost. The NFL hashes essentially align with the goalpost, with the uprights. But the college hashes are wider. Whenever the NFL brought it in 20, 30 years ago, whenever it was something like that, right? Whenever they brought it in, was it to make field goals more accurate, or was it for a TV, or was it for passing? And
I think it was more for offense.
Yeah, more room in the flat.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I
think it was to always keep the offense more centered.
Yeah, probably. That's probably right. They probably wouldn't have done that for kicking purposes, but what it made is nobody missed kicks. I mean, the kickers were starting to get good then, and then people forget this. In college football, up until I think '88, you'll remember this. Gibby, I'll bet you may not even know this, and Lauren, I don't know if you do or not. Up until '88, did you know you kicked field goals and extra points off a tee? Did you know that?
I don't remember that.
I mean, it was a black platform tee.
Mm-hmm.
You held it. You still took the snap and held. You don't remember that?
I don't remember.
You took a snap, and the holder put it down on a tee. Don't they still do that in high school? Why do I think that?
I don't think so, but
I don't think so either.
I think maybe they do.
Do they? I don't know.
You could be right. By the way, the NFL changed the rule in 1972.
That's when the hashes went in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
51 years ago.
When did college go away from the tee for placements? It had to be 87, 88, 89. I promise you it was in the might have been 89. It was somewhere in there. That is black tee. It's like a platform. It didn't have the holder things on it. It just was a platform.
1989.
89. And the snap would get it. The holder would get it.
So when Krzyzewski hit the field goal to beat LSU, it was off a tee?
Yes.
Wow, how about that?
And let me tell you why you brought up the perfect guy, Arden Krzyzewski. Because he was still there when lame beat reporters had to go around asking about the tee. And he was funny, by the way. Arden was hilarious. And he was kind of my buddy.
Yeah.
I was like, he goes, "Right, you gonna ask me about the tee?" I said, "Asked you last week." "Yeah, ask me again." Okay, so because he had a kick without the tee.
Yeah.
So I think 89, when he made the field goal against LSU, they put it on a tee.
Wow.
And he made the field goal. And
For
then
a
next
second,
year,
I thought you said Krzyzewski, and I was like, he was a kicker in college?
Yeah. You know what Arden Krzyzewski.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Arden.
Right. But he made in Galen Hall's last game. I was there. He made the kick to beat LSU. That's what he was talking about. But was that off a tee, or maybe that was the first year without it?
See, I kind of now that we're talking about
maybe
it,
that was the first year without it. Maybe '88 they had it. I want to say '90 was the first year without it.
Was it? Because see, now I'm
Things
sort
off
of
the ground.
remembering
Maybe
that.
I'm wrong.
What I'm now, as we go way back in the memory bank here, what I'm remembering is that maybe he was great that year and then not so good the year after the team.
The year after that, he was.
But that would have been Spurrier.
He was pretty good with Spurrier. He was pretty good for Spurrier.
Yeah, and it's not like you ever needed to kick a meaningful field goal with Steve Spurrier.
Up 58-7,
exactly.
you're pretty much okay.
So Spurrier's kick was off a tee.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I'm trying to I want to say maybe it was maybe 89 is the first year without it, Lauren, or maybe 89 is the last year with it. It was around 89 because I remember.
What I read, it said the NCAA banned the use of kicking tees in 1989.
Okay, so 88 then it was off the ground. So 88 would have been the last year for it.
Wow,
that would have been so interesting. All right, very good. Interesting stuff. Take a break. Got more to get to football-wise, college style, with media days right around the corner. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
The past comes to life in the present.
And the Jaguars are going to the playoffs.
The memories bridge the gap to the future.
From 27-0 to win the game.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Attention car buyers, are you noticing markups on vehicles on dealer lots? Well, come to Key Buick GMC, where we never have markups on our vehicles. Ask for Derek or Brian, where we have fair value pricing, no additional markups, as well as the only Buick GMC dealer with a lifetime powertrain warranty on all new Buicks and GMCs. That's only at Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade across from Tinseltown on the corner of Southside and Gate, or go to our website, keybuickgmc.com.
If you're from the South, you know all about fried green tomatoes and BLTs. So put some South in your mouth and get to Bono's to try the fried green tomatoes appetizer served with Reggie Ranch and one-of-a-kind Bono's BLT with smoked brisket, lettuce, and fried green tomatoes, served with one southern side. Frangie here, and I'm telling you, I love fried green tomatoes, and this sandwich is out of sight. So head to your local Bono's today. The fried green tomatoes appetizer and BLT is a summer sensation. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Higgin here. Guess what July is? National Carpet Cleaning Month. For home carpet cleaning, Zero Res offering $49 per room. And for businesses, they're offering 20% off in July. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 12, 1949, baseball owners agreed to erect warning tracks requiring something other than grass to be in all parks within 10 feet from the walls.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
Is your vehicle in need of some TLC? Bring it to the experts at Tire Outlet. With over 40 years of experience and 15 locations across Florida, Tire Outlet is the brand you can trust. Our certified technicians do the job right to get you in and out in no time flat. Hurry in for great deals on tires and automotive service. We offer free tire rotations, free brake inspections, rebate offers on brand name tires, and a legendary price match guarantee on every set of brand new tires. Tire Outlet, wholesale prices, premium service.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market's been strong. So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes, just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of, it's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with shark coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with shark coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Matchbox 20, right, Hayes?
That's right.
Was it great?
Yeah, it was fun.
They're really good,
Fun
aren't
show,
they?
yeah.
Now, they got delayed for a while, right?
Like 3
Yeah,
years?
not. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the night.
no,
the
no,
night it got
no.
delayed about 30 minutes.
Oh,
'cause
just
of
30 minutes,
Lightning,
okay.
yeah.
Not-
By the time we walked up, they were getting
Yeah.
ready to let
Okay.
people in. So.
Okay, good. Was it good?
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't back yet. Suzanne loves Matchbox 20, and that's one we definitely would have gone to, but we got back that night. But a good show, huh?
It was originally scheduled
Awesome.
in 2020. That's why I said 3 years.
Right. Yeah. So
Like
it
the
was a
actual-
3-year delay, which they were great about in terms of joking about it and making sure they gave it their all. But yeah, it was a really fun show.
Did you know all of their songs?
No, I knew
Okay.
probably about 6 or 7. My wife Jean is a big fan of theirs, so she knew pretty much all of them. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
And that was Daly's Place, right?
Daly's Place.
Nice.
Yeah, I would have known. Yeah, 7 or 8. I would have known.
I knew it was one of those things where it was like
the
I
hits.
figured I'd know 4, and
Yeah.
I knew like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I would have known Bright Lights and
And I
3
think they-
a.m. and Insane.
I think they played like 21 cool thing that they did in their final encore. They covered "Don't You Forget About Me" from Simple Minds from the Breakfast Club,
Mhm.
which obviously child
Right
of the
up your
80s.
alley,
I
yeah.
loved.
Yeah. So he puts on a good show too. So.
I love concerts with good covers. That's always a thing for me. I know some people
Yeah.
like only original music by the artist. I get that. I always enjoy covers.
Yeah, for Suzanne's benefit, we missed this one because we were gone, but that's one we'll try and get in. I'll try and get in the Matchbox 20.
They'll be back. They have such a good rapport of the bandmates and everything. You can you can sometimes really tell the enjoyment and the fun that musicians have playing together. And what I told Gene after the show was, I mean, they're going to tour another 15, 20 years. I mean, the exuberance and the fun that they have performing with each other, there's no way in the world that band is not going to do this for another 15, 20 years.
Yeah,
so my
cool.
guess is they will come to Jacksonville 7 or 8 more times at least between now and the end.
Speaking of the end, did you see that the Eagles finally are done?
Yeah, they're going on one more tour though with Steely
That's what I mean.
Dan.
Like
yeah.
there is one
Yeah.
actual farewell tour that will take place now.
Yeah,
Not the farewell tour that I went to way back in 2005.
That's what I was
not
gonna-
the farewell tour that you went to
Yeah.
a couple years ago.
But I can tell you the one in 2005, I was there too.
Right.
Henley and Fry got up there, and one of them said, "Listen, thank you for being with us all these years. You probably won't see us again after this one, but let's have some fun tonight." And I've seen him 4 times since. Okay, I mean that was 20 years ago. Okay, and
yeah, we're going on almost 20 years
I've
ago.
seen.
They-
I mean, I've
they
seen.
had a
I've,
farewell tour.
I've seen 4 farewell tours since their farewell tour.
I mean, if
and God bless them, I loved it.
if I'm a band, I'm just not going to name any of my tours the farewell tour because,
Right.
I mean, who's the oldest? We decided it was Willie Nelson at like age
Yeah,
90,
yeah.
who's still touring. By the way, for Gator fans who were listening to our last segment when we were talking about the Florida LSU, you can Google Florida LSU 1989. And
Arden makes the kick.
And he barely makes the kick.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
I was.
I was
6 at
under the
time,
upright.
7. I didn't realize how close that was.
I was under the upright when it came. And the story of that game, I've told the story before, that after the game, and I knew Galen pretty well. Galen gets in, and back then the opponent in Tiger Stadium, the opponent media wasn't very big. There's a little podium. There were probably 7 or 8 of us around him. It wasn't a very big game because neither one of them were particularly good that year. So we're kind of hovering around, and Galen looked at me and took off his hat and wiped his brow and goes, "That was a big one, man. That was a really big one. You just don't know." So we wrote it, and I remember kind of I was on deadline. It was a night game, so I kind of half thinking, why is it that emotional for him? It's just 2 mediocre teams, and he just beat LSU. So blah blah blah.
What time was deadline? Out of curiosity.
I
for a
think
night game?
back
12:30 at
well,
that
back
point.
then it was Georgia deadline 10:30, Florida deadline, the state editions 11:30, and 12:05 for our final. We had 3 deadlines. The Georgia papers went up to Georgia. Papers went to Stark and Gainesville. So
So the
10:30,
game-
11:30, 12:05. The game probably ended 10:15, 10:20, 10:30, something. So I barely made the Georgia. I probably had everything written except for whether the kick was good or not. Yeah, that was you had the whole story written.
Sure.
You'd always have the story written and then send right away. But anyway, so I'm on deadline. I'm in a hurry. But I remember Galen going, "Ooh, that was big. You just have no idea. You just can't imagine." And I remember thinking, we went drinking afterwards because that's what sports writers with no money do in Baton Rouge. And we all said, "Man, he was really emotional about that." And then the next day, it came out that he knew he was fired. He was fired before that, and so anyway, I remember it very well. We're running out of time in the segment, but I want to get to this, so I'm going to stay on it. Where are the quarterbacks headed? What will Carson Beck be?
Really good.
Will Jordan Travis? I know Caleb Williams is there. I get it, and he's probably already got the Heisman one again. I get it, but
it's tough to win it twice.
It is tough to win it.
He's
twice.
going to have to be pretty much flawless
Is
the whole
Jordan
season.
Travis deep into the Heisman race?
Yes.
Like deep.
Yes, he'll finish fourth.
I think, I think deep into the Heisman.
Like Carson Beck could win the Heisman.
Absolutely.
We're going to go to breaks. I want to stay on the topic. But does Tyler Van Dyke bounce back, or was he not that good? Is Graham Mertz as awful as everybody thinks he's going to be? Is Jordan Travis, how deep does he go? Does Carson Beck get pushed at all? Let's take a break. When we come back, let's stay on it. It's a fun topic. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This is 1010XL.
Always us on 3. 1, 2, 3. Always us.
Home of the Jaguars.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles update. The weekend is fast approaching, and this Saturday is our in-store card show at Showtime. From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., the hobby community comes together at Showtime to shop from our various vendors 20 tables of unique cards. Showtime Card Show this Saturday from 9 to 4. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Jacksonville people, the best wings in town are coming to Mandarin. The Players Grill is expanding and opening soon on San Jose. Watch your favorite teams and enjoy burgers, pizza, salads, and more. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
Sports injuries are a common issue for both adults and children. Dr. George Barry here, and as a specialist in orthopedic care, the team at Barry Orthopedics and Sports Medicine here in Jacksonville provides comprehensive diagnosis and treatment of all types of sports injuries. With additional training in sports medicine and more than 30 years of experience, the team is available to care for your entire family and help you have fun and stay active. Visit us today at barryorthopedics.com.
And don't forget to check out Breaking Bones Sunday morning, 7:30 on 1010XL.
You're gonna love the hot summer RV sale at General RV. July 12th through the 16th. With payments as low as $99 a month. Only at General RV. In Orange Park on Wells Road off 295. $99 monthly payment based on purchase price of $14,999 with 30% down at 7.7% APR for 180 months. Rate and payments are subject to change at any time. Conditions apply.
Get ready to swing into the hottest party this summer. Join First Tee North Florida at the Yards on July 27th for the Summer Soiree, presented by Southeastern Turf Grass Supply. Tee off for open play golf on the backyard, followed by an all-inclusive party supporting the impactful programs of First Tee. The Summer Soiree provides the perfect blend of golf, party, and philanthropy, all in one special evening. Visit firstteenorthflorida.org/summer soiree and secure your tickets today.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The following people are under the influence of no air conditioning.
Oh, man.
Is it ever hot? I can't get up. My legs are stuck to the chair.
Can guys go through menopause?
Why?
I think I'm having a hot flash.
Don't let no AC happen to you. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, available 24 hours a day, and they'll fix it right the first time. When your AC system needs a repair, it's time to call Duck Duck Air, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, a division of Duck Duck Rooter.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club has become an attractive destination for golfers all over North Florida. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that'll test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time today at hiddenhillsgc.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, why is it that when you look at how long a store has been in business, that it always seems to be the stores like Underwood's that sell fine quality that have been around the longest?
Frank, that's a question that really doesn't get asked a lot.
but it should be. There are a number of reasons, but probably the biggest is because of the endorsements our longtime customers and their pieces of jewelry have given us through the years. You see, when you sell really fine quality jewelry, that piece will last longer and always stay beautiful. It might stay in the same family for generations, and through those years of wear, a lot of compliments will be made and a lot of people will be told where the piece of jewelry came from. You see, at a store like Underwood's, it's our stated goal to be the best jeweler in the South, not the biggest, so everything we do and carry has to help move us toward that goal. And ultimately, it's the satisfied customers wearing fine quality jewelry that have kept Underwood's in Jacksonville since 1928.
Underwood's in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Brace yourself for bone-crushing tackles, lightning-fast speed, and non-stop action of the ratified credit union Jacksonville Axemen. The Axemen take on the Atlanta Rhinos at UNF tonight at 6:30. Tickets start at $10 and kids under 13 are free. Never seen rugby league before? Imagine 13 running backs against 13 linebackers in the 2-minute drill for 80 minutes without pads or helmets. It's gonna get intense. The Axemen and Rhinos tonight at 6:30. Jacksonville Axemen are proudly presented by Ratified Credit Union.
It's time to fire up the grill. Houston's Meat Specials of the Week. 10 pounds of fresh jumbo chicken wings, only $12.95. 2-pack pork spare ribs, only $1.99 a pound. And whole T-bone steaks at $5.95 a pound. Only at Houston's Meats, Main Street and 295.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. We are now less than 2 months away from the Jaguars' season opener at Indianapolis against the Colts. So who will be the starting quarterback against the Jags? Will it be Anthony Richardson, the former Gator quarterback, or former Jaguar Gardner Minshew? Let's hear from the Colts owner, Jim Irsay.
So for Anthony Richardson, it's going to be tough. We know that, but he has to play to get better. I mean, there's no question. Gardner could come out and obviously play better early on, just being a veteran. But we have to get Anthony on the field, and that's Shane's call when he decides to do it.
Colts owner Jim Irsay on the potential starting quarterback against the Jags on September 10th. 87 degrees at 3:58. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Obviously, there is competition. And like I've said, there's zero animosity between any of us. And I think we all love competition. I mean, that's why we all came here. And not only does it make me better, but I feel like it also makes them better. And we all strive based on competition, and we're just going to keep that rolling.
That's great. It starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes and airplanes. And Lenny Bruce is not afraid. I have a hurricane. Listen to yourself, churn world.
I'm watching Carline lip sync, okay? How about that? Well, there you go. Well, at least wait till the chorus. Here it comes. It's coming. Well, maybe it's not going as fast as I thought it was.
No, there's a lot before.
All right. Welcome back to the program.
I love the scene in Tommy Boy with Chris Farley and David Spade where they're in the car and this song comes on and they get about the first 8 words in and then they lose it.
Right. It's really impressive how fast he sings and gets it right. There you go.
It's amazing. They don't do it live because of that.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Be tough.
By the way, if you're a Georgia fan right now, you're going, wait a minute. You're playing the comments of Carson
know the band,
Beck.
though.
They like REM, but then you're playing It's the End of the World as we know it.
But the Georgia fan knew a minute, right? Yeah. The Georgia fan who also knows Gibby knows the minute he heard the first note, he's playing REM for Gibby.
At least it wasn't Everybody Hurts.
Yeah,
it's the end for everybody else in college football because they've won 2 in a row.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, didn't need to be man on the moon either. So Carson Beck, that was his comments after spring. Let's start with Carson Beck. Boy, he looks like an NFL guy, man. He's the most traditional NFL-looking quarterback I think we'll have in the country. Now, Caleb Williams is the most today's NFL guy because they're whippy and athletic and run a little bit, right? But Carson Beck looks like he would have been the first overall pick in the draft in 1984, doesn't he? I mean he's 6.
In 2004.
Yeah, correct. And so big, strong arm, throws a beautiful ball. And I'll say this about Carson Beck. This guy was all everything here at Mandarin. All everything. Won a state title as a junior. Gibby called the game. All everything. I mean, He committed to Florida as a baseball player as a sophomore, then committed to Alabama as a football player, then finally landed at Georgia in an era where everybody leaves, particularly at that position. I mean, I think part of the curriculum for a quarterback now is figure out when you're getting to the portal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what you do. You just go to the portal. I mean, the four quarterbacks we're about to talk about now, Mertz and Travis and Beck and Van Dyke, well, two of them are at their second school. So in a world where everybody goes to the portal, that son of a gun stayed the course, man. He waited while Stetson Bennett played. He waited while Brock Vandergrift and Gunnar Stockton signed. He waited through all of it, and I that is a good thing. That Carson Beck, that is a damn good thing in this day and age, to wait your turn like the old FSU quarterbacks used to. Like Peter Tom would wait behind McManus, and Chip Ferguson would wait behind him, and this is tip of the cap, man, to Carson Beck. I can't root for Georgia because they're the rival of my team, but it's hard not to hope he's good. You know that? I mean, I really mean that. And I'm like you. I think he's going to be very good.
I think he's got Heisman aspirations. The only thing that I think is going to hurt Carson is the lack of statement games, particularly in the first couple of months of the year for Georgia. Again, losing that Oklahoma game, while it's great in terms of an easy path to the playoff, it really hurts in terms of games where people are going to be locked in on Carson Beck because the out-of-conference is UT Martin, Ball State, UAB, and then Georgia Tech. And, they don't play Alabama. They don't play LSU in this regular season. So, but if his numbers are sensational once they get by Vanderbilt heading into the Florida game, if he's at that point 31 touchdowns and 4 picks, which I think he absolutely could be, the Florida game people pay attention to, even if Florida isn't great, because it's the cocktail party. So
Correct.
That would be a chance for a lot of people will be watching that game at 3:30 on CBS. He then gets a home date against Missouri. And again, assuming they're either number one or certainly I think they're going to be number one. I don't think they're going to lose. You always have some eyes on you when you're the top team in the country. But he gets Missouri. He gets Ole Miss at home, which possibly could be an interesting game. He goes to Tennessee November 18th. That could be the game that really perks him up in Heisman voters' minds if he goes into Knoxville and puts up 4 or 5 touchdowns, and then they'll shred Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Then obviously you get the SEC championship game, which is the ultimate make your Heisman statement game. And if he plays well in that, I think Carson Beck has a real chance to win the Heisman. Voters are not going to want to give it to Caleb Williams again. Now again, and I do wonder if like Drake May is going to have enough wins as a team. I know that Tebow won it one year when Florida was fairly pedestrian.
7-5. Yeah.
But he doesn't win that.
That was then.
Yeah, and he doesn't
15.
win that Heisman if Dennis Dixon doesn't tear his ACL.
That's right.
And so, I don't know that Drake May is going to have the wins to really be enough of a factor in the Heisman. And so you look at it, and I think Carson Beck is going to have everything. I think he's going to have the numbers. I think he's going to have the wins. I just wonder if he's going to have the attention of voters early on enough for them really to put him one when they get to the filling out the ballot. But if he plays well against Florida, plays well against Tennessee, and plays well in the SEC title game, I think Carson Beck has an absolute shot at the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I agree. Frank, riddle me this, though. And again, once the season starts, it isn't that big of a deal. But why not reward the loyalty of Carson Beck and bring him to SEC Media Days?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know the inner workings. I am adamant that every team should bring a quarterback. I have screamed that. Again, I've been to just about every one of these damn things. And I've screamed it for 30-some-odd years. You should bring a quarterback. I don't care
but
who.
But especially him.
Correct. Well,
and I know they haven't technically named a starter.
Well,
that's fine.
Well, that's the answer to your question.
Yeah.
Is he doesn't want to give the impression that Carson's won the job. Even that to me, if it was me, now again, if he does, then Brock and Gunnar and Joe and Stevie and Bob and all the other 5 stars all leave, I guess. But I think, to your point, Lauren, number one, I agree with you. He should be there. He should have his day in the sun to go talk about being the next guy to lead the Georgia football team.
JT Daniels got to go, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. But I also think he should have been named the quarterback at the end of spring. I watched that spring game. I mean, I watched because it was on. They're all on it.
Mhm.
I watched every snap of that spring game. He
Yep.
was the best guy.
Absolutely.
In fact, I thought he was. You guys watched the spring game, right?
Mhm.
I thought he was head and shoulders better than Brock Vandegrift and Gunnar Stockton. I thought they looked like college quarterbacks. They short-armed the ball a little bit, but probably a little bit more athletic. He looked like an NFL guy. Didn't you think that?
Yes.
I thought he looked like an NFL guy. So I agree with you, Lauren. He should be. I'm going to wrap it all in there together. Name the quarterback in Nashville for the media days. Quarterback when they have their Georgia media day. He should be able to enjoy all of that. Now, unless Kirby Smart unless he really isn't Kirby's guy, but I got to believe he is. But I agree with you.
If
I
he's
think,
not his guy, then he should have transferred.
Yeah. By
Waiting
now,
your turn is
yeah.
great and all, but if he doesn't get to start this season, then he should transfer.
Let's get to Jordan Travis. I think he's got a chance to win the Heisman Trophy, and it's going to be hard because Caleb Williams has a lot of votes already, probably, which is not the way it's supposed to happen. But I think Jordan Travis, number one, way less resistance. He's going to have a chance to beat Clemson on national TV. He's going to have a chance to beat Florida on what you think is going to be a very heavily watched game. They're going to be in the top 10 all year. And he has a dynamic playing style. Just in that Florida game alone, how many times did they have him tackled, have him sacked, and then he's spinning away and racing downfield?
He made two of the greatest escapes I've ever seen.
And he's that guy. And over the years, that guy won the Heisman a lot. Now, that guy didn't necessarily always win it as we moved forward because passing numbers became so egregious. Then Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray and all these Big 12 guys with a huge number started winning it because of the numbers were more egregious than the playing style was wow. But he does have that. I think Jordan Travis has a great chance to have a Heisman Trophy year. In fact, I'm with what Hayes said before the break. I'd be surprised if he's not in New York, barring an injury. If he's not in New York as one of the 4 or 5 finalists, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he's not higher on the Heisman odds for the upcoming season. Florida State has excellent wide receivers. They've got all these transfers that we know about. And Jordan Travis now, it feels like he's been in college football for 8 years. And so he has mastered that system. Yes, Florida State, I mean, not that the Pac-12 is that hard as far as what Caleb Williams is going through, but they do probably play maybe one more top 25 team than Florida State will this season. But I just think his style of play and how everyone also has watched him really grow up in the realm of college football is going to make him, yes, in New York in December.
The challenge he faces, Hayes, is one similar to what you said about Carson Beck. There's not a lot of marquee games to take over. The good of that is you can have big stats and still have dynamic playing style, but there's not a game. There's Clemson on the 23rd on the road. Other than that,
LSU.
Obviously LSU to start the season. Shame on me. LSU to start the season is the big one. Then there's Clemson on the road in Game 4. Other than that, it doesn't look like there's a lot of games that if you win, you go, wow, he beat him. He beat that team. So, but I think he's got a great chance.
I actually think it lays out pretty well for him from a Heisman standpoint because if they beat LSU and let's say he accounts for 5 touchdowns, then he immediately goes right to the top with Caleb Williams. Again, the media and the voting block is not going to want to give it to Caleb Williams. They're going to look for any reason not to. And that's not against Caleb Williams. It's just every repeat Heisman or every Heisman winner that returned to college that we've seen in the last 10 years face this. And that's why none of them have won it. And so if he goes and beats LSU, plays really well, he's going to go right to the top. Then it's almost just holding serve. If he then goes to Clemson and wins, and again, assuming that that's not a 9-7 win, assuming that's Jordan Travis accounting for 4 or 5 touchdowns, then I think he becomes the front runner. And then at that point, you're just holding serve. I mean, he just needs to go out there every week. And yes, there's not going to be necessarily a lot of eyes on the Syracuse, Duke, Wake Forest, Pitt games. But if he just goes out there and does his throw for 240, run for 80, 3 or 4 touchdowns, maybe one game you have 6. You know the way he plays lends itself to those highlight reel plays. Then you're going to get the Miami game, which even if Miami is still struggling, people will watch. And then you get the game in the Swamp. I mean, if he goes into the Swamp and dissects Florida, it's going to be a nice statement to make. And then, of course, he has the ACC title game. So I actually think it lays out pretty well for Jordan Travis, because I think from a Heisman standpoint, you want to make the big splash in September and then just sort of hold serve. And then everybody's going to have those chances late in the year, because you have your rival, and you've got, in most of these instances, you're going to have a conference championship game. So I think Jordan Travis absolutely can do it.
When you've done radio as long as me and a lot of us have done it, when you've done radio long enough, there's a lot of wrong on that resume. Jordan Travis is near the top of my wrong.
Oh yeah,
I mean, this is near the. Ron Mercer will be a better NBA player than Tim Duncan. It will probably be untouched. Okay, that'll be in my wrong Hall of Fame. But I never thought Jordan Travis.
I never saw it coming.
Would be a good quarterback at college. I thought he was a good athlete. He went to Louisville. He transferred out of Louisville. I didn't think he had a very good throwing motion. I thought he's a good team player, so he'd move to wide receiver because he's a good runner. I never saw this happening. In credit to him and to Norvell and making this happen. I mean, last year he threw 24 touchdowns and 5 picks. 24 and 5, and as a runner, what do you have? 800 yards, I want to say. I mean, last year is a something like that, right? I mean,
was it that high? He had
maybe that wasn't that high.
He had about 400 rushing.
Okay,
but again, this is where it gets into they count sacks against you, which is dumb.
Right.
But yeah, he had 82 carries for 417 yards, 5.1 average, long as 71, 7 rushing touchdowns.
I never. If you'd have told me he was going to have in 2022, and again, I liked FSU before the season more than most folks did, but not to that. If you'd have told me he was going to pass for over 3,000 yards, complete 64%, 24 touchdowns and 5 picks, and impact the game as much as he did as a runner also, I would have told you lost your mind. 82 for 417. He also rushed for 7 touchdowns.
Right.
You know, so he accounted
missed half the game against Louisville. Is that what it was?
He
something.
missed something.
I think it was around half.
I think it happened right
before. If you count rushing
Yeah.
touchdowns, he accounted for 31 touchdowns and 5 picks.
Spectacular.
I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. So, all right, we'll see what happens. 2 Heisman candidates, perhaps Carson Beck and definitely Jordan Travis. Take a break. Let's get to Tyler Van Dyke and Graham Mertz. The other two after this. Stay with us.
Now, the Lamb Rant, brought to you by the best bet card rooms of Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine.
I'm not a big pro tennis fan. I used to be lukewarm on the sport, but now I don't know who's playing. If I did, I couldn't pronounce or spell their names. I do prefer the women's game to the men. What little I've watched of Wimbledon has been the women. The women's game offers far more action with longer volleys. The men, it's mostly about power. Slam, bam, thank you, man. Women have made great strides in every sport, none more so than in basketball, which is now worth watching. If they ever learn to jump, there won't be much difference between the men and the women. All of our big-time pro sports have become global except for pro football, and it's trying like hell with more and more games being played in England and others in Germany and Mexico. That means we often know little about the athletes until they're on the big stage. If I did, maybe I'd learn their names and how to pronounce and spell them.
Check out Uncle Dave's column at 1010XL.com on the homepage. Look for Lamb at Large.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Nimnicht for Life is here. Buy your next pre-owned vehicle with confidence and peace of mind at Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet now offers a lifetime engine and powertrain warranty on qualifying pre-owned vehicles, including 1 year free maintenance. Frank Frangie here. Nimnicht for Life keeps you on the road and worry-free. Nimnicht has more than 300 certified pre-owned and used vehicles to choose from, and each vehicle includes a detailed vehicle history report. So visit NimnichtChevy.com or go to Park and Cassett Avenue. Chevy, find new roads.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their positions. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason Stanley Pools is a family tradition of fine swimming pools. It's locally owned and run by the Stanley family since 1988. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build and renovate our pool, and they do a fantastic job of maintaining it. I've recommended Stanley Pools for years for pool construction, repairs, maintenance, and renovation. Call Stanley Pools at 269-7277 today to transform your backyard. That's Stanley Pools, 269-7277.
The more you catch, the more you like to fish.
Fish up, fish up, fish up.
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Oh, that's a big one, dude.
With Captain Kevin Faber. Brought to you by Houston's Meats.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
Matt Hayes here. Are you plagued by plumbing problems? Fenwick Home Services plumbing professionals are always ready to help. Whether your home has a clogged toilet or drains, dripping faucets, no hot water, or other issues, their experts offer zero-fee, 24-hour emergency plumbing solutions. Fenwick's technicians arrive promptly on the same day, or you don't pay. Book online in seconds by visiting FenwickEasyBook.com. That's FenwickEasyBook.com.
Men, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. 98% of men see instant results on their first office visit. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Men are even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
But that's not all. For a limited time only, call Prime Men's Medical Center now, and your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Yo, yo, yo! Are you looking for the lowest price on car insurance? ET here for Australia Car Insurance. Call 1-800-CAR Insurance today. Australia is your quick and easy alternative to pay less for car insurance. Switch and save money. Call 1-800-CAR Insurance today.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I said yes to Yas, Dr. Mitchell Yas, and the Yas method. Now, I know you've probably tried medications, treatments, injections, even surgery. Maybe the reason you're still in pain is because they're treating the wrong thing and not addressing the root causes. Well, I know from personal experience, this does happen. But I found the best-kept secret in pain elimination, Dr. Yas and the Yas method. Call him today, 904-906-YASS, and say yes to Yas.
I want to make our backyard into a paradise. But where do I start?
A few people I know chose CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. They do it all. Fire pits, pergolas, and custom outdoor kitchens.
That sounds convenient, but I don't want a half dozen subcontractors milling around.
CSS is a licensed contractor, so they do 100% of the work themselves, from start to finish.
That's perfect. Let's get an estimate.
Well, I already toured their showroom last week.
Ha! Well, what are we waiting for? Let's do it.
CSSOutdoor.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Graham Mertz, we're talking about a guy that started 32 games. You know, he's an experienced player. And I do believe he's got unique tools. You know, when you go back to all the way to his high school recruitment, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country. You know, close to 6'3", a little under 6'3", he's 215 pounds, extremely intelligent.
The Florida quarterback, so who put out that he's 14th in the league?
Everybody.
CBS last week.
It's multiple now. It really is.
Oh, it's everybody.
It's pretty much become a thing that Graham Mertz is the worst quarterback in the SEC. I don't think it'll be that. I don't think that'll be the reality of it. But that's the perception.
Yeah, and I think the perception is, I think Florida fans disliked him so much. I think immediately said, look, if his own fans don't like him, you know. Right. He must not be very good.
And look, I mean, let's not try and pretend that the spring game was anything remotely encouraging. I mean,
it was a spring game?
Unless you're willing to, for once, unless you're willing to, give him the benefit of the doubt because the new defensive coordinator decided to send the kitchen sink at him on every play.
It was an awful spring game.
Yeah.
It was an awful spring
And so I think what do you have to go off of? This is what you have to go off of. Wisconsin was glad to see him go. At least its fans. We're glad to see him go.
Right.
No one missed him. It didn't appear like he had any other major Division I interest until all of a sudden Florida was in the picture, and even then it was like, well, is Florida taking him as like a guy just to come in and sort of be a backup?
My honest first thought was that maybe he wanted to go and he's walking on. I mean, which is crazy, but when I first heard, my first thought was, honest to God, at first glance, that's what I thought.
And so I think, I think every step of this has been, what evidence would there be to suggest that he's going to be good until you actually look at how he performed. And then when you look at how he performed, and Frank, you brought up a great point of the scheme that he was in, then maybe you start to think that at least obviously you'd love to have a superstar. He's not going to be that. But can he be an efficient game manager? And I think it's way too early to discount that he can't do that because of how much he's played. To me, he's almost the version of, like, if you're Florida, you kind of have to hope he's not going to be Peyton Manning. He's not going to be Tom Brady. He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. You have to hope that he's the college football version of, like, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who became a player at the NFL level that could go out there and play pretty well, wouldn't cost you the game, didn't do the spectacular, but was efficient, managed the game, gave you a chance. And that's what I think you have to hope Graham Mertz is if you're Florida.
Can you hope that he is similar to Kyle Trask? I mean, different situations, but Trask, no one expected anything of him. The one time we saw him in the spring game, we thought, oh boy, this guy will never start in college football. And then eventually, once he got into the game because of the injury, all of a sudden he was way better than you ever anticipated.
I don't think there's any chance he's as good as Trask, but I think I've said all along, I watched enough tape that he doesn't look like a terrible player to me. I'll say it again. He looks like he knows how to play. He looks like he's going to hit the easy ones. He looks like he's not going to miss open guys. He looks like he's not going to get confused. He's not going to be spooked, Hayes. He's played 36 games in the Big Ten. He's not going to be overwhelmed. But there's no evidence either that he's going to play above the X's and O's. So is he John Parker Wilson? Is he A.J. McCarron? Is he one of these guys that's pretty good if his team's pretty good, right? I mean, and I'm not saying the team's going to be very good, but is he that guy? Is he ultimate game manager that's not going to mess up a lot, but is probably not going to win you many games too? I would think, I'll take right now, if he throws for 2,400 yards and he had 19 touchdowns and 10 picks last year.
Yeah, 2,400 yards would be a career high.
Okay, if he threw for 2,400 yards and gave me 21 and 8, would you take that right now? Right now?
No. but it's close. Right I mean, it's close. 21's tough because, I mean, you're talking about not even 2 touchdowns throwing per game, and he doesn't give you really much as a runner. So to me, if that was the stat line, I think it'd be pretty difficult for Florida to do a whole lot more than win six games. But I think you have to hope he comes in somewhere around 26 and 8.
Well, if he's 26 and 8, he's a pretty good player. You know, I mean, I don't mean to agree. I mean, if you throw 20 in today's college football, if you throw 20 playing against the SEC and Utah and FSU, and you throw 26 touchdowns and 8 picks, well, then you're good. You may not be great, but when you're pretty good then, right? Wouldn't you say?
Well, I think that's the hope is that can he be a B-level college player?
Yeah.
And I think what you're banking on is what you're talking about. He should be the steadiest guy on the roster. He's played in all these games. That is something the team did not have last year. They had an unbelievable athlete in Anthony Richardson, but when things weren't going well, Richardson couldn't pull himself out of it, let alone the whole team. Whereas Mertz is going to have more of an ability to say, all right, guys, just hang in there. We're going to be fine. And so all that, the veteran, the savvy, the leadership, the moxie, that should all be there. The not getting rattled in a tough environment, the not getting down on yourself if you throw, 3 straight incompletions to start a game. Like, I don't think Florida has to worry about that with Graham Mertz. I just worry about, look, part of this too is we don't have tons of confidence in his supporting cast in terms of who he's throwing to. The run game should be there. But, it's not like he's got, Ike and Riddell and Quezzy. He's got a decent receiver in Pearsall, and then they're going to have to rely on some young guys that have a lot of speed, but this will be their first year of college football. So, I think you have to hope that he's everything from a mental standpoint that Richardson wasn't in terms of a football player. Richardson was a fantastic person. But from a football player standpoint, somebody who's able to maintain poise, maintain confidence, and instill that in what is going to be a young team.
I think that's why Napier wanted him, by the way. The system that Napier wants to run, at least this year, is probably run first because of the tailbacks he has, not necessarily great pass catchers. So he found a guy that's going to fit his system and not want to throw it all over the yard.
Well, I can tell you this. Here's what I can tell you. Napier has told people that he's close to, okay, that he does believe, he may be totally wrong, but he does believe that this guy will be a totally different guy in a real spread offense than he was in that I formation offense. Now, I promise you he said that to people that may know quarterbacking and maybe the color commentator on the broadcast. I mean, he is. I can tell you, he said that he really believes that this guy. He said he will be different. Shane Matthews thinks they're going to win 8 games. I mean, he against that good schedule because he thinks he's going to be okay. So we'll see. Here's the thing with Richardson. And again, Anthony's the 4th pick in the draft, and he may turn out to be a terrific pro. But Anthony Richardson was going to break 4 tackles and then throw 3 touchdowns after breaking every tackle against Utah and single-handedly beat Utah because nobody could tackle him and nobody could defend the lasers he threw in the end zone. He's also going to miss Jonathan Odom wide open on the 4-yard line in Tallahassee with a chance to win the game, and he's going to throw it 10 feet over his head, and he's going to throw one out of the back of the end zone on a Hail Mary.
Completely hand Kentucky the ball game in the Swamp.
Right.
Completely hand that game away.
Well, that's true. And I don't know what Graham Mertz will do on that. But I know the amazing plays he made against Utah and the wide-open misses against FSU and the other Hail Mary, whatever that was. Graham Mertz isn't going to do either one of those. Graham Mertz is never going to make the plays that he made to beat Utah. He's not capable. He's not going 4th in the draft. He's not capable of making those plays. I also think if Jonathan Odom is wide open at the 4-yard line with nobody really within 10 yards of him, he's probably not going to miss him. So I think it's hit the easy one. Jeff Lageman said this about Blake Bortles. Jeff Lageman, we worked games together, said this 1,000 times. The first thing quarterbacks have to do, is hit all the easy ones. Mark Vandermeer asked me about Richardson today. He said, what do you think? I said, the one thing he's got to learn to do is you have to make every free throw. Okay? You may not have to make all your three-pointers, and you may not have to do your double clutch pump in the lane you may not have to make, but you have to make every free throw. You have to make every layup. NFL quarterbacks have to make I think Graham Mertz is going to make the easy throws. I haven't watched him enough to know that, but I have watched enough tape and I've heard enough about him that I think if he swings one out of the backfield of the open guy, he's going to hit him 100 times out of 100. What I don't know is if he has to step up and drive one 24 yards downfield on a crosser with a cornerback a half a step away from Pearsall, can he drive that? That's what I don't know that he can do. And so it'll be interesting to see.
But if he could, we would have seen at least highlights of that at Wisconsin, we think.
Yeah. Well, and again, I watched a lot of tape. I mean, it was YouTube, like you said, you can YouTube. I watched a lot of YouTube of him, and first I watched the highlights, but then it's always going to be good. So then I went back and watched some full games because it's not going to show you just the good. And he did what I just said. He hit every open guy, but he rarely made a throw. He didn't make very many wow plays when I watched, but he hit every open guy. So final guy is Tyler Van Dyke. Is he the really good player he looked like 2 years ago, or is he the player that wasn't very good at all last year?
I think he's the player that wasn't very good at all last year. Now, part of that's, I think, that that he hasn't gotten great coaching there under Cristobal. But it's hard for me to have a lot of confidence that he's going to bounce back and that this Miami offense is going to bounce back.
He has a new offensive coordinator now, so at least that's
third
good
one
news.
in 3 years.
Yeah, but that's the bad news, right?
Yeah.
So it's the third one in 3 years, and so I tend to lean more towards Hayes. I certainly hope for his sake because obviously he was projected to be a really high draft pick, and then after last season, I don't know that anyone would even draft him.
2 years ago, 25 touchdowns, 6 picks, threw for about 3,000 yards and completed that 63%. Last year, still completed and that was in 10 games. Last year, 9 games, almost the same amount, threw for 1,100 fewer yards. He threw 10 touchdowns last year. 10. Now, Josh Gaddis was the play caller, wasn't very good. That's why they had to run him out. They ran him out pretty quick. In fact, most of the Cristobal coaches were gone pretty quick. It's interesting because I don't find myself thinking he's a particularly good player, but I've said this before. I don't know that Miami can ever. If Miami can't come back under this regime, they're never coming back. This is it.
I would agree.
If they're not coming back under the recruiting of Mario Cristobal, and I'm not sure they are coming back, and I've made that comment many times too. But if they're not coming back under this regime, they're not coming back.
That's the thing that I find so funny is Florida's become the laughingstock, but to me, Florida has more momentum than the Canes. I mean, because at least Florida's recruiting.
Right.
I mean, that's even now dropped off for Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And they both had, I'd say bad years, but Florida can at least say they beat Utah. I don't know that there's anything that would be remotely redeemable from Cristobal's first season in Miami. So it is interesting. We've talked about this before. Florida is sort of the punching bag. Miami, it just seems like just no one talks about. And maybe to your point, Frank, it's because Florida's got more of a spotlight on them as a program than Miami does now because Miami's been not themselves for 20 years now. But for me, it's hard to have a lot of faith. And I thought Cristobal would be really good and that he would bring Miami back. But there wasn't a lot to hold on to in year one. And I don't have a lot of confidence that year two is going to be much better.
Miami won the national championship in 2001 with a team that was regarded by many as the best or at least one of the best college football teams in the history of the sport. If you ask people to vote for best college football teams all time, that team would get a lot of votes. Might win, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
The very next year, they should have won it again. They got a bad call in the end zone, or they would have beaten Ohio State and won back-to-back titles. How that program went from that to what it's become in the last 22 years is amazing. In the 21 football seasons since then, they have had one 10-win season. Jim McElwain had 2 10-win seasons. They've had one against not much resistance.
Right.
In a conference that's not particularly good, and a lot of those years their arch rival FSU had been down. And
they're in the easiest division.
Correct.
By a mile.
And so in the coastal, which has been the coastal division which means you don't play Clemson every year.
Right.
FSU really since 2002, FSU had a stretch of Jimbo. That stretch of 10 through 13, FSU was pretty good. But other than that, in last year, FSU hasn't been very good. So if there was ever a year to pull away from FSU, or ever an era, that would have been it. And really, they didn't. So against very little resistance, Miami has done very little. And I don't know. I don't know that this portends to be any better. I just don't.
I tell you what, that September 9th game in Miami, Texas A&M at the Canes, loser leaves town.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, whichever team loses that game, it is going to be a disaster for that losing coach and his program.
Yeah, I think you're right, because again, I think A&M's done. I think they had their run at it.
Yeah,
I think
if you let A&M come in and beat you on your home turf in year two, I think it's a terrible look for Cristobal, and obviously the last thing Jimbo Fisher can afford to do is lose any game.
You're right. Lose town is a great point. We'll see what happens. We'll take a break. More in a moment. 1010 XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010 XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Jaguars fans and 1010XL.
It was a special year for the city, for everybody, and couldn't have done it without all you guys supporting us. So we're thankful for you guys. Those last two home games were games I'll never forget.
1010XL, home of Jaguars fans.
This is Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. It's time to take control. Don't give in to that constant joint pain. Take back your quality of life today with QC Kinetics. Call them today at 904-274-5522 to set up an appointment at their Mandarin or Ponte Vedra locations. Take control with QC Kinetics. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime, no more pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back. QC Kinetics takes your own body's healing agents and concentrates them in the area where you have pain. You can repair and restore damaged tissue naturally through regenerative medicine. The summer is here. You need to be out there having fun, making memories, golfing, walks on the beach, enjoying your life. Take control now and start living pain-free. No surgery, no downtime. QC Kinetics has locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Call them today at 904-274-5522. That's 274-5522. Take control with QC Kinetics.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Who's your hero? Before you answer Superman, I don't mean those heroes. I'm talking our local heroes. Do you know one? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet want to recognize your hero in a big way. This year, we will recognize local heroes in our community and honor them with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Visit localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
Frank here, and it's summertime, and longer days mean more time to spice up your morning. Looking for an unexpected breakfast experience? How about a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit? It's back on the menu for good, seasoned with a spicy blend of peppers and freshly breaded chicken paired perfectly with a lightly buttered biscuit. The Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit makes a bold start to your summer morning. Savor each delicious bite with Chick-fil-A spicy chicken biscuit today.
Fed up with settling for mediocre pet food? Go to Paul Licken Good, your one-stop shop for affordable, high-quality raw pet food. Their Prey Model blend mimics the way your dog's ancestors consume their meals. It strengthens the immune system and bone health and gives a shinier coat. Made from all-natural USDA-inspected human-grade meats. No fillers, no artificial additives. Check out all the 5-star Google reviews. Off Lane Avenue near Lenox. Call 625-8600. That's 625-8600. Or visit PaulLickenGoodRaw.com.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here. Hurricane season is upon us. That's why I always recommend Patriot Roofing Services, specializing in all types of commercial, residential roofing and repairs, gutters, sun tubes, skylights, 10-year workmanship warranty, financing is available, military and senior citizen discounts, no subcontractors. Give my buddy Mark a call, 982-4052, licensed and insured, or go to Patriot Roofing Services online.
Tony Baselli joins 1010XL's Breakfast Flakes. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser for Breakfast with Baselli. Brought to you by Epstein & Robbins DUI Defense Firm. Monday mornings on 1010XL. Breakfast provided by Chick-fil-A.
Hey, poker fans! Christmas in July is back at Best Bet this month. From July 12th through July 23rd, we're paying out over $260,000 in cash, with high hands increasing daily up to $2,300 every hour. Plus, chances to win a 7-day cruise valued at over $3,000. Don't miss all the excitement of Christmas in July. Visit BestBetJax.com for more details. That's BestBetJax.com.
At Kubota, they want to help you deliver a job done right. That's why they want you to know that the new Kubota inventory is arriving daily. You've got work to do. They've got the reliable, durable, and versatile lineup to help you do it. Visit Coastal Equipment today for all your equipment needs.
Greater power for the great outdoors. Coastal Equipment.
Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny.
Feeling hot and bothered? Don't quack up. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning at 904-862-6769. Our licensed and experienced technicians will make your home or office a cool and comfortable oasis.
Duck Duck Air Conditioning, keeping you cool and quacking all summer long.
For all your automotive repair needs, choose to Get Famous for the triangle of vehicle safety. That's tires, brakes, and the front end. Famous Automotive and Tire. 7 locations to help you get back on the road safely. Famous Automotive.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Higgin here. Guess what July is? National Carpet Cleaning Month. For home carpet cleaning, Zero Res offering $49 per room. And for businesses, they're offering 20% off in July. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
We had the All-Star game last night in Major League Baseball. The National League won their first All-Star game since 2012.
You know what else we have?
We also have milkshakes.
That's right.
Eric and the team from Chick-fil-A brought us these milkshakes.
Thank you.
They're just spectacular.
They're
oh, my God, is that good.
Never had the peach. It's really good.
Really good.
Absolutely. Thank you to them. So Elias Diaz became the first Rockies player to win the All-Star game MVP. You didn't want it to go to the home run derby, though.
Former Pirate, by the way. He came up through the Pirate chain. What a shock. Pirate guy winning an MVP for somebody else.
Yandy, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yandy wasn't a Pirate.
He wasn't a Pirate? Okay. I thought there was another guy that started as a Pirate.
Yeah, it wasn't him, but
Tyler Glass now.
Well, obviously he was. There's a bunch of those. So some thoughts about the All-Star game. By the way, it's by far the best All-Star game. It's the one. It's better than hockey, football, basketball. Football, in fairness, there's nothing they really can do. You can't have an all-out game in the middle of the season in football. Basketball, I'm surprised the NBA All-Star game isn't better. Are you surprised that they don't make it a real game? Well, it's a shame they don't try and make it a real game.
That's the thing. It's a shame there isn't a little bit more pride on the defensive side of things in that game. And so, yeah, I think it's the NBA All-Star game should be spectacular and was 20 years ago, but it's been de-emphasized in the players' minds, and so it's really slipped.
Yeah, I mean, I thought last night's game was fun to watch, but I don't think any of the All-Star games are nearly as exciting as just watching a regular season game that actually matters.
I thought last night's was really fun. I think they should go back to the real uniforms. I love the miking up of the players, but I will say this. Baseball's, and maybe it's the rules this year, but baseball's made a resurgence. And I think part of the resurgence is number one, there's teams that are having special years. I think it's Gibby, you're the expert on this, but I would say, and again, we'll have to see what happens. They've won 2 titles, one a few years ago. If you don't win a title, it doesn't matter. But is this roundly considered in July, and I know it's only July, maybe the best Braves team of all time?
Well, it's I think it's certainly on pace for that. I mean, the Braves have never won 60 games before the All-Star break ever, and so the trajectory and the potential for this team is that of best team ever, certainly. But they've got to be the best team ever. They got to win it.
That's right. If you don't win it, nothing matters. There's no way you qualify if you didn't win it.
Yeah, you can't win 100 because if you win 111 games and you don't win it, nobody remembers. They remember that it was a good year. We won 100 plus, but we didn't win it all.
It's amazing how many good players they have. I mean, really. I mean, and you've talked about it even before we did that their formula of sign them earlier than other teams would sign them to Gibby's point to team-friendly deals. But it really is amazing how many good players that team has.
It's incredible, and it's gotten to the point where they're so loaded they can almost exclusively focus on pitching in terms of the draft because, I mean, you've got your positional guys locked up for 3 to 6, 7 years. By the way, I apologize. I was a little distracted. Florida just got a commitment from Kendall Jackson, big-time defensive lineman out of Gainesville.
Good reason to be distracted.
Yeah, I apologize about that. But, yeah.
What is he, 4-star?
It depends on the service. He's 4-star on some, 3-star on others, but he's a big get for them.
Nice.
The Rays, meanwhile.
The Rays drafted 14 pitchers.
Yeah.
Is that normal? That high?
Yeah, I've never. That's the trend this year.
Okay.
21 draft picks. The Pirates also drafted 14.
Okay.
So I think the Rays have set a template for how to do stuff, and so
draft 1 million pitchers because your pitchers are always going to get hurt.
And the Pirates. I don't know if the Rays did this. The Pirates drafted a lot of college pitchers, which means they're ready sooner. And so, and I don't know if the Rays did that or not, but yeah, I think that's kind of where baseball's gone.
Yeah, the Braves do that too, by the way. Draft 1 million pitchers, see which one hits. Because that's happened. I mean, they happened a couple of times. Spencer Strider was a draft pick out of Clemson.
So where are the Rays headed now? The Rays are still 4 wins better than anybody in the American League, but they lost 7 games in a row for a stretch there. Lauren, what about it? Are the Rays leaking oil, or is it just a bad little stretch there?
Yeah, they certainly were leaking oil, but I mean, I think they'll bounce back here after the All-Star break. I think they have some extra energy because of the performances of guys. I mean, we saw how the game started with a Rosarina making that amazing catch at the wall. I think they just needed a little break, and I think they're gonna be really good when they get back to action this weekend.
Gibby, I think one of the most interesting stories for me about the Rays, and again, we beat them up on this all the time, and I'm not trying to do that here, but they have no fans. The Braves went in there, and it was 3-1 Braves fans. I mean, the Braves play in Georgia. It was 3-1 Braves fans. Yet the Rays have this incredible record at home. Can the lack of fans, as you're in a real pennant race, can that hurt them, or is that no factor, Gibby?
I think people are going to. I think people will show up for the playoffs. I was talking to some Rays fans, and I was there Saturday, Sunday, and I said, when it's the playoffs, what do you? And that place is packed. Whenever it's postseason, if they make the World Series again, they think that it'll be packed again. But I can see the argument about coming over that bridge from St. Pete to Tampa. It's a long ride, especially if you got a lot of traffic and maybe hard to get to each night. But again, there's no reason why, to me, other than you just don't like the stadium. A lot of people just say, Trop's a dump, don't want to go, and that's fine, that's fair. But man, you got a really good team. I'm sitting here thinking when we're going to the game Sunday afternoon, there's houses around the stadium. It's almost like if you dropped a stadium in the middle of like San Marco or Avondale. It's kind of that way. I'm like, man, if I lived here, I'd be going to games all the time. But yeah, I mean, to have a product like the Rays have, there should be more people going.
The Rays play the second half. They start with 6 road games. They play 3 at Kansas City, who's not very good. But then it gets interesting. 3 at Texas, second best team in the American League. 4 at home against Baltimore, second best team in the division. 2 at home against the Marlins, who, by the way, are having they're quietly having a fantastic year.
They are. They really are.
Then 3 at Houston, who are still the Astros. Then 3 at the Yankees. So, again, if the Rays are going to climb out of it, or if they have climbed out of it, we'll know pretty quick. Let me ask you this, Hayes, your opinion. We know baseball would love the Yankees and the Dodgers to finish prominently every year. We know if baseball had its druthers, then we'll never tell you that, but they love the Yankees and the Dodgers before. After that, I'm going to say Red Sox, probably, right? Red Sox the third. So let's say the Yankees, Red Sox, and the Dodgers are the most prominent teams. If you're looking for ratings and recognizability and branding, if you take them off the ballot, where are the Braves?
Fourth.
You think they're fourth?
Mm-hmm.
Give me what about that?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can point to there's generations and many fans over the years that became Braves fans because of TBS.
What do you think, Lauren?
I think so.
Yeah, did you say Cubs?
I said after Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, most well known that would affect the television ratings the most.
Yeah, I would say Cubs.
Cubs next.
Yeah.
Then what? Then we're the Braves.
Then I would say the Braves.
So Gibby and Hayes say Braves fourth. Lauren says Cubs fourth, Braves fifth. Yeah, and we're splitting hairs.
Cardinals probably somewhere in the mix
and we're splitting hairs to whether the Braves are ahead of the Cubs or ahead of the Cardinals or not. But you get the point. The Braves are really prominent. They're a really prominently regarded team for a myriad of reasons. The obvious one is in the 80s, everybody saw them.
And they're the only true Southern baseball team.
Correct.
So
I'm
if
telling
you're from
you,
the South, you pretty much like
the South
Braves.
loves the. I tell you, I still everywhere you go, there's Braves fans. We're going to be the SEC Media Days in Nashville. The Braves will be all the talk. When the SEC Media Days are in Birmingham, they're all the talk. Obviously in Atlanta, they're the talk. Everywhere, I mean, you bump into an Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina fan. That's who they root for in football. You know who they root for in baseball? They root for the Braves. So there's this, and I think that's part of it. So part of it is that Ted Turner put them on all over the country, and part of it is what Lauren said. This is one gigantic region of the country that only had one team. And by the way, the South has never adopted the Marlins or the Rays. They just never have. They're just and in fairness to the Marlins and the Rays, the South has never adopted the Bucks or the Dolphins or the Jags either. You know, they just the Florida. Somehow the South looks at Florida as leave me alone. You know, you're different. You're not one of us. But the Deep South doesn't always recognize Florida as one of them for whatever the state of Florida. So for whatever reason that is. But the other thing is they had Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz. I mean, if you look at recognizable personality traits that a team has had, I mean, you think about it. The Red Sox that had Poppy and Manny and all that they had that, right? The Yankees had Jeter and Mariano Rivera and whoever came with them, right? So that's very memorable. The Dodgers back in the 70s had Garvey and Say and all those guys. You know what I mean? I would say the Braves, Glavine and Smoltz and Maddox together, that's about as recognizable a group of players and an identity as any team's had in the last 30 years.
Yeah, if you go back to 1990, I would imagine if the Braves don't have the best record in baseball since 1990, they're the only team that I can think of that would even remotely challenge them would be the Yankees.
It's got to be close. They got to be close to the best record, don't they? I hear you. I agree with that.
But if I had to guess, I'd say the Braves are tops because of the consistency that they had in the Maddox.
14 straight divisions.
Right. That's the thing. And so, and the Yankees did have some dips prior to the Torrey Jeter dynasty.
Yeah.
And really, to be honest, haven't been that awesome lately. They've been okay,
right?
But they haven't been winning like the Braves have been winning for the last 5-7 years. So, yeah, I mean, I think that really helps. The other thing too with the Cubs that I would wonder about, I think it kind of has hurt the Cubs in the sense that they broke the curse, they won their title,
right?
So it was great that they did it, obviously, but there was a mystique
about lovable losers.
A lovable that is gone now.
Yeah.
And so I do wonder, I mean, the Braves own the entire South. Like, there's no, the Cubs don't even remotely own the Midwest.
No, they're right. The Cardinals are right there.
Right.
The Cardinals probably own as much of it as I almost think the Cubs are more of a national brand than they are a Midwestern brand, because the Cardinals are the ultimate Midwestern brand.
I actually think I'd put if it wasn't the Braves, I think I'd put the Cardinals above the Cubs.
Yeah.
In terms of the league office.
Yeah. Maybe. Close. It's close either way. But I hear you. So I think the brand that the Braves are, and this team looks dynastic. I mean, this looks like one of those teams when the Yankees won all those titles under Torre. This looks like a team like that.
Well, think about it. The Braves have 8 All-Stars. They had 8 this year. Every guy is under 30 years old.
Yeah.
And Acuna is 24, 25.
Which means they're good for a long time.
Well, and aren't they, like, let's say, hypothetically, the Braves win the World Series this year. Then, Gibby, what are their last, 4 years? Wouldn't you have to say they're almost well on their way to a dynasty now if they win it this year? Because they'd have 2 rings and, 2 other deep runs in the playoffs? They haven't lost a World Series recently, right?
No, but they lost 4 in the 90s. But
right. But I'm
yeah.
saying in this run, the Acuna run,
nope.
They've won a World Series, which is the only one they've been to. But haven't they been to the NLCS twice?
Yes, they have.
So if you give them this, if they win this World Series, they'll have 2 World Series titles and 2 other NLCS appearances?
Well, and what makes the dynasty stick out is they lost Freddie Freeman, who's a really good player. You're not supposed to lose Freddie Freeman and then wind up with a guy just about as good. That's not supposed to happen.
And win 60 games in the first half.
I mean, they lost a guy. They lost Freddie Freeman and wound up with a guy just about as good. They lost Dansby Swanson, who's a good player, and you don't even notice. So, I mean, if you think about, they haven't even flinched. And they lost good player. I mean, Freddie Freeman and Dansby Swanson are good damn players.
They're both All-Stars.
Yeah. I mean, they lost Ronald Acuna during the season for the year and won the World Series. The Patriots were the greatest dynasty because they had the great quarterback. If I asked you, give me mega great players from that Patriots run other than Brady, there's almost none.
It's tough.
There's good players.
Right, but
Seymour's a good player. Gronk's a good player. But
short burst.
Yeah,
it'd probably be Gronk.
Gronk. Yeah, Gronk's the best one. But, there's not a list.
Right.
There's not a list. This team has got a –
because they only had Moss for, 3-4 years?
This is the Showtime Lakers, that had Magic and Worthy and Perkins and Nixon and Michael Cooper and Jabbar. That's what this is.
And you have to imagine Hurston Waldrop from the Gators had to be pretty ecstatic to be drafted to this team. By the way, he grew up a Braves fan. Did you know that? I knew
he's from there.
He's from Georgia, but I read a story. One of the Gator beat guys wrote a story about Hurston saying that he could name like every Braves player growing up, which is cool.
Doesn't the Braves, don't they still have what's considered to be one of the better farm systems? Like, isn't it top half?
I'd have to look exactly.
I'd have to look
it's pretty good. I mean, it's the Orioles have the best probably. They have ridiculous. They're going to be really good for a long time.
But the Braves are probably in good shape there. I don't know
most of the guys.
I would imagine
Most of the guys the Braves have are up right now.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this.
I see they're 30th out of 32.
Okay,
yeah, so not good.
So they don't have a good
That's
farm
what I mean. Like most of their guys that have been through the system are in the major leagues.
Who is the Orioles first?
The Orioles were first.
Yeah, they're
the Rays
ridiculous.
second, I'm guessing.
No, the Dodgers were second.
When was this taken?
Preseason.
Preseason. Okay.
Rays were sixth.
Here's the other thing. Where are the Pirates? Just so I know. I'm curious. Just eight. So yeah, because the Pirates have a good farm. The amazing thing about the Braves is By the way, I didn't make this point either. I said you don't lose a guy like Freddie Freeman and get a guy just as good. You had Travis d'Arnaud, who everybody would love to have as your catcher, and he's suddenly your backup. So that's
because he got hurt, right?
Well, they got Sean Murphy, who's really good. If they went and got a guy better. But if you add it up, all the guys turned out to be stars. If you think about it, Albies turned out to be a star. Acuna turned out to be a star. Austin Riley turned out to be a star. Strider turned out to be a star. Max Fried. All these guys they brought up, they didn't just become good players. They became freaking stars. Grissom's going to be a star. Michael Harris is going to be. It's incredible how many guys they drafted, developed, and turned into mega stars. That's it. I've followed baseball close enough. That doesn't happen. That many that you draft and you develop become stars. All right, let's take a break. Let's get back to football. They've picked a Hard Knocks team, it appears. We'll talk about it after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
I am just a figment of your imagination.
1010XL. 1010XL.
Now at Hodges Mazda, for those who never stop refining, lease a new 2023 Mazda 3 sedan during the Season of Discovery sales event for only $329 a month. Lauren Brooks here. The Mazda 3 enables you to enjoy a new form of indulgence. Plus, all vehicle purchases come with 2 years free maintenance. The sales staff works on salary, not commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. That's the Hodges Mazda difference. Visit Hodges Mazda online today at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details. $3,499 due at lease signing. Terms and fees for qualified lessees. 36-month lease expires July 31st, 2023.
E.T. here for Brackish Vodka. Jacksonville produced and distilled a gluten-free corn-based vodka. It's the smoothest vodka you've ever had. Because it's mineral salt filtered after being distilled 5 times, you get the smoothest vodka on the market. And it's made right here in Jacksonville. Brackish Vodka won the silver medal at the SF Spirits competition this year. But you'll need to try Brackish Vodka for yourself. Drink like a local, drink Brackish Vodka, and live life salty. Come on, somebody.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, this is Jason with Bueller Air Conditioning. Why do we love to go to that awesome grocery store where shopping is a pleasure? Why do we choose that amazing chicken sandwich where the service is fast and friendly and it's always their pleasure? You see, those brands are a promise. Here at Bueller Air, our team is committed to serving the customer and delivering that same kind of brand promise. Our mission is to be the most trusted brand with friendly and professional service every single time. Give us a call today or visit BuellerAir.com.
Want great drinks at a great location without paying outrageous prices? Players Grill has you covered. Monday through Friday, happy hour from 3 to 5 p.m. $15 bottomless mimosas on the weekend. Players Grill Miramar, where the neighborhood meets.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, it's Prosser here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? Does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound about right now? Well, Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loans, consolidate all your payments into one check per month, and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now to see what your options are. Call Loan Pronto at 999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
You're gonna love the hot, hot, hot summer RV sale at General RV. July 12th through the 16th. With payments as low as $99 a month. Only at General RV. In Orange Park on Wells Road off 295. $99 monthly payment based on purchase price of $14,999 with 30% down at 7.7% APR for 180 months. Rate and payments are subject to change at any time. Conditions apply.
The next time you have an orthopedic injury, call Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. That's what we do. I'm Bob Arablo, president of Your Jacksonville Icemen. We've been using them to take care of our athletes, and you can rely on them to take care of yours.
This is Dr. George Acevedo of Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Thanks to all of the athletes who ask us to help them get back on their feet.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hacker here for the Sausage Dude Sausage. Look, I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dude Sausage is the best sausage I've ever had. The Sausage Dudes use high-quality pork and natural casings along with love and dedication. You can pick up their 4 terrific flavors, including my favorite, the Italian, at Publix locations all throughout Jacksonville. And a portion of the proceeds go to benefit the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Take it from me, the Sausage Guy. Get over to Publix right now to get your hands on the Sausage Dude Sausage.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by YMCA of Florida's First Coast. This week on The Scoop with Mia O'Brien, Jaguars offensive lineman Walker Little joined the show and spoke about what he likes most about being here in Jacksonville.
I consider the golf because I love it so much, but the beach is also just incredible. Living so close to the beach, and I just think there's a lot of pride in this city, which is really cool.
Walker Little, a guest of The Scoop with Mia O'Brien. You can check out the new episodes on our 1010XL social channels. The Jaguars announced 13 training camp dates that are open to the public. You can register for your free tickets at jaguars.com/training camp. The first Jags training camp open to the public is Wednesday, July 26th. 92 degrees at 5:06. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Here, that means it's time for more football. Football at 5.
5 o'clock somewhere.
On the Frangie Show.
1 hour to go in the program. Glad you're along for the ride on a Wednesday. He's Carline, Lauren Brooks, and Andrew Gibson. I'm Frank Frangie. Thank you for stopping by. That milkshake was good.
That was really good.
Ooh, the peach milkshake is Chick-fil-A. Thanks to Eric and the folks over there for bringing it by. I may have to go get another one of those. It was that good. Aaron Rodgers and company, the Jets are on Hard Knocks. It almost seemed like a no-brainer. I think my first thought when I saw that looks like where it's headed is what took so long. Didn't you kind of think that?
Yeah, and it's going to be entertaining. There's certainly a lot of storylines. They should be good. So I think it makes sense. I'll say this. I had kind of given up on Hard Knocks. I didn't watch Detroit last year because I didn't care about the Detroit Lions. This one will have my interest a little bit. So I'm now excited to watch Hard Knocks because I'm curious to see what are the Jets going to be, and I have to assume a lot of this is going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't watch last year. Unless there are some key storylines, I feel like that will come out of this one. I don't know that I'll be that intrigued because I feel like I'm kind of over him, truth be told. Like, he's been in our purview now for long enough. But if there are some interesting storylines that come out, then I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah, I'm not a Hard Knocks guy. I know everybody else is. I've just never really been my thing. But this one will have my attention a little bit just because they've had a lot of stories. Rodgers is the ultimate story. The fact that Aaron Rodgers, all these years, this great quarterback playing in the most heritage franchise in league history, are certainly among them in the Green Bay Packers. Are the Packers the number one franchise in the history of the NFL?
I would say no.
Cowboys?
Yeah, I would say. If you're talking about just the logo?
Yeah. Cowboys. The Packers are the Packers certainly on the ballot. So on one of the most storied franchises ever, played at Lambeau Field, all of a sudden he turns up in New York on a franchise that has failed miserably to be what it could be. The Jets, and we had this talk enough times on the program, the Jets have never really become what you thought they could become. They were Joe Namath winning the Super Bowl in 1969 and nothing else. That's really what the Jets have been. Klecko and Gastineau, the sack exchange in the 80s is the closest thing they've had to relevant since, really. But they've really done nothing since.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, though, I will say, the interaction between Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson, because we all know that previously he was not going to mentor or help Jordan Love, and not that he feels like he has to mentor or help Zach Wilson, but just how does that relationship play out?
Yeah, and here's what's interesting about that. Jordan Love, he could have felt like was a threat. They drafted him while Rodgers was still on the team, And really, when he was asking them to draft offensive weapons, they went against it. So I can see where that acrimony or why that acrimony would exist. He's got no reason not to like Zach Wilson. He was there before he got there. I can't believe that Aaron Rodgers thinks there's any chance Zach Wilson is any kind of a threat, right?
No.
I mean, so I'll be interested. I don't think there's going to be a lot of tension or controversy there, I guess is the point.
Yeah, that's what you would expect, but
Yeah.
the show will be a lot more interesting
If there was.
if there is.
But I think Robert Sala's a guy I got to know and I really like. He's a good guy. Quincy Williams is there now, so I'm interested to see. Yeah, there's enough storylines that'll have my attention, and it's the New York market. Will there be any New York related stuff that you wouldn't see if a team was in training camp in Prairie View, Minnesota? You know what I mean? I think there may be some of that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Rodgers-Wilson dynamic is really interesting because Aaron almost comes across, at least this point, that he's somewhat sympathetic to Zach.
Right.
And so,
that's right.
and again, Aaron knows he's only got a year or two left doing this. This is his final act. So it's almost like I think Aaron Rodgers is taking the 180 approach of Green Bay, and I think he actually wants to try and help get Zach Wilson to being a starter maybe in 2 years when Aaron isn't there anymore. So I am curious to see how that works because Aaron Rodgers has never been that player. But it seems like in this environment, he's willing to do that. I don't know that it's enough to save Zach Wilson's career. But, and again, you've got Sauce Gardner. You've got Garrett Wilson. I mean, they've got some unbelievable young talent. So the other part of it that I think makes it intriguing is, from a Jaguars perspective, they could be a challenge. That could be the team that rolls in here wild card weekend. I mean, the Jets could easily be second in the East behind Buffalo and have to travel. And if the Jaguars don't get home field throughout, then they're playing that first weekend. And so it could be Jets-Jaguars.
It's interesting. You talk about Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's a good player. They brought in former Jaguar and Aaron Rodgers' favorite Alan Lazard. They got Mecole Hardman there too now, who can really run. That's not bad. C.J. Uzomah's there, who caught an awful lot of passes from Joe Burrow. They might be pretty good.
They've got
pretty good weapons.
Hall coming off the ACL, who was playing well prior to the injury. Who's the young back, so maybe he's able to get back there and give them something, particularly in the second half.
Brees Hall's a pretty good player.
Yeah,
Brees Hall's a pretty good player. Yeah, it's interesting. They'll and again, the defense, they got some good defensive play. They're pretty good defensively last year, but I'm talking just about what the offense will look and feel like. I will probably, to your point a minute ago, I will probably watch more Hard Knocks than I typically would. And I'm like you, Lauren. I'm not going to be glued to it. I never have been.
Yeah.
I get it, and I told you guys this before. Other than Billick and the Ravens, which I thought was the best one, it's never grabbed me like it has others. You were a big Hard Knocks guy for a while, right?
Loved it.
Yeah.
And then they watered it down.
Right.
And my interest started to wane to the point where last year I just didn't care what they were doing with Detroit. And that's ended up being founded because there was really nothing on social media that I ever saw and kicked myself for, I need to go watch this. It just seemed like it came and went with very little fanfare. And so the fact that they're making the Jets do it tells me that it will probably be even more watered down than what we're used to. But my hope is that there's enough interest with the players and with the fact that the Jets look like they could really be contenders that it'll hold my interest.
All right, we'll take a break. More in a moment. 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Sweltering weather, the dog days of summer at the office, and no Jaguars on-field action for 6 whole weeks. So let us help you beat the summer heat with The Scoop. New episodes every Wednesday all summer long on the 1010XL social channels and wherever you get your podcasts.
Big Chief Tire has served the Jacksonville community with reliable and honest auto service for over 60 years. Frank Frangie here. Our experienced technicians will treat you like family when you visit for repairs, new tires, oil changes, and more. We're proud to announce our new Orange Park location to better serve customers with fair prices and quality service. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment at one of 5 Jacksonville locations. We keep Jacks rolling.
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard? Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Don't ignore plumbing leaks. They can lead to mold and mildew or structural damage and drain your wallet. So when you have a leak and can't wait a week, call Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Nimnick for Life is here. Buy your next pre-owned vehicle with confidence and peace of mind at Nimnick. Nimnick Chevrolet now offers a lifetime engine and powertrain warranty on qualifying pre-owned vehicles, including 1 year free maintenance. Frank Frangie here. Nimnick for Life keeps you on the road and worry-free. Nimnick has more than 300 certified pre-owned and used vehicles to choose from, and each vehicle includes a detailed vehicle history report. So visit NimnickChevy.com or go to Park and Cassett Avenue. Chevy, find new roads.
Follow the rise of the young Jags and daily discussion about where they're headed.
We can be part of it.
Jaguars Today.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
With Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and E.T. every weekday from 10 to noon on 1010XL.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start. And Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready
to go to work.
It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring at Walmart today.
Active and pain-free. That's the ticket. Dr. George Barry here, and I know that's the goal of every patient I see. They want the best possible care so they can go back to enjoying life. That could be pick up basketball, golf, tennis, running, or just working out. It all requires you to be as healthy as you can be. If joint pain is taking its toll on your active lifestyle, come see me at Barry Orthopedics. We have locations all over Jacksonville and can diagnose and treat even the most severe joint pain. A homegrown Jacksonville practice. Find out more at BarryOrthopedics.com.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Hayes Carline for Island Wing Company, located on Southside near Tinseltown, and our new location at Bartram Park in St. Johns County. Two great locations offering the ultimate sports bar experience where you can stick to healthy options. Island Wing Company has a wide selection of fryer-free food. The wings are baked, not fried, with so many awesome flavors to choose from. You can also get delicious salmon, tuna, flatbreads, and tacos. With tons of spectacular TVs, dog-friendly patios, and 2 daily happy hours, Island Wings can't be beat.
Duval! Your Jaguars are locked in and ready to play. Our home schedule lineup features exciting matchups that you don't want to miss.
Into the end zone, touchdown!
After all our success this past season, the 2023 season is going to be one that you'll want to be a part of. With a variety of plans, we've got ticketing options for every budget. So visit jaguars.com/tickets to lock in the best seats at the bank or call 904-633-2000 to buy now.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
All right, I got a question for Carline, Brooks, Gibby. Have you guys watched any of the NBA summer stuff at all?
I watched
Castleton,
a little of Wemby.
You watched any of it?
Nope.
Gibby, have you peeked at all?
No, I haven't. Sure have not.
Wemby, really tall, really skilled, but I don't sense he's dominant yet. Looks really skinny, and I mean, look, he's going to be great. We all know that.
He only played 2 games, right?
His first game.
Just the highlights. Just watching the highlights.
Yeah, his first game he didn't really, to his own admission, didn't really know what he was doing, and his line still wasn't awful once you got beyond the shooting. And then his second game, he was unbelievable. I mean, he's hitting threes, and I think he's going to be really, really hard to stop. And he's certainly going to be a great defensive addition for San Antonio. So I think they were smart to shut him down after that second game. It's like, we've seen enough.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get him to the starting line healthy. So I don't know how much weight he's going to be able to add. He certainly, needs to add some muscle to his frame, but from a skill standpoint and agility standpoint, I have never seen anything like him. I've never seen a player that big, that tall, that can move and is as fluid and with his dribbling, his shooting, everything, he does with grace.
Yeah.
And guys that big are almost always clumsy.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And he's 7'5", so number one, there's not many guys that big, period. And so I agree with everything you said. I've thought it beforehand. I don't know why. I just figured when he's playing against all these other rookie dudes, he'd have 31 points and 28 boards, and nobody else had more than 5. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but he's going to be good, but he doesn't look like he's dominated to this point.
But the summer league is not all rookies, right?
No, it's not. There's some guys that have played. That's correct.
So the guys have been.
Yeah. And he just got there.
Yeah.
You know who's played? Castleton's played well. Have you followed this?
Yeah.
Castleton for the Lakers has been pretty good. He's been, the whole idea is to try and get to training camp, because he's an undrafted guy. But there's even some talk that he might be the guy that, he's end of the bench guy that gets some late minutes. And he may be one of their backup centers, which is pretty cool.
He might be the next Kurt Rambis. Look, if you're Colin Castleton, you take that right now.
Right now, you sign up right now.
That'd be a nice little career. It's cool to see that somebody that was so proven in college is in the skill set is translating thus far. It's great for Colin Castleton, and hopefully it does lead to him. Florida has produced. The thing that Florida does produce, it doesn't produce elite players at the professional level usually. It's basically a joke how few NFL superstars Florida has produced, considering all the players that they've put in the NFL. But what they do produce is they produce offensive linemen that weren't very good at Florida that end up having 12-year careers.
Tons of them.
And hence why Fletcher Westphal, I think, honestly chose Florida.
And they end up, for whatever reason, having basketball players have way longer NBA careers than you ever thought they would, like Matt Bonner. And David Lee was a first-round pick, but he ended up having a big career, making I think tons of money, going from the Knicks, I want to say, to Golden State before the Warriors got Curry. But Florida's had just a unbelievable amount of players that have they're not stars, but they just find a role in the NBA. Udonis Haslem, who just finished his 38th year in the NBA. And it'd be funny if Castleton followed that trend of a guy who doesn't really play a ton, but you look up and he's had a 7-year career.
It does. I did not think he'd have a chance to play in the NBA because he can't shoot. But everything you're reading looks like there is a chance he'll be on the team.
He's averaging 17 points.
Yeah,
what I see.
And I've watched some of the highlights. He's pretty. He's a factor in these games. The same stuff he would do against Auburn or Missouri, where he'd catch a ball in the lane and be a little more physical than the guy covering him, and then he's doing that there. Now again, he's not doing that against NBA stars or physical NBA. He's doing it against other guys that are in this G League or rookie league rather. But anyway, it's interesting stuff.
I did see Brendan Miller was playing well.
Which you would expect.
Yeah.
A lot of the players, a lot of the professional golfers, Hayes, were interviewed at the Scottish Open. It'll be interesting to see the reception for Jay Monahan. They've always liked him. But did you see Xander Schauffele's comments today?
I did not. What did he say?
He essentially said he's lost a lot of trust.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to have to regain trust. He said, I'm not a trusting person by nature, so he's going to have to win me back over. I wonder how many, and Spieth said something not quite as harsh, Lauren, but similar, right?
Yeah, Schauffele said Monahan has a lot of tough questions to answer in his return, which for people who missed it, Jay Monahan has been absent from his position due to a health concern. I don't know what the health concern is, but he should be back fairly soon. And then Spieth also basically said, like what you're saying, that he was disappointed and Monahan needs to have more conversations with players because that's what was lacking.
This is going to be fascinating to see the way the whole thing plays out.
Yeah, I'm reading Xander's transcript now, and it's pretty incendiary.
Here's what it said. The comments Xander Schauffele made, here's what it sounded like.
The guy who was supposed to be there for us wasn't. Obviously, he had some health issues, so I'm glad we got the memo. I'm glad that he said he's feeling much better. But yeah, I'd say he has a lot of tough questions to answer in his return, and I don't trust people easily. He had my trust, and he has a lot less of it now. So I don't stand alone when I say that, and he'll just have to answer a lot of really hard questions when he comes back.
I don't trust people easily. He had my trust. He doesn't have a lot of it now, and I don't think I stand alone. That's powerful.
It is
That is a powerful paragraph.
It is incredibly powerful because I can't think of Goodell, Manfred. I can't think of instances where a player was this outspoken about the lack of faith in their leadership. And I think it's going to be very difficult for him to survive this as commissioner, because of the way it was handled. And his hope is that he's going to put so many millions of Saudi money in these players' pockets that they will forgive him.
Well, that's the thing.
And it seems like he's been able to somewhat do that with Rory. It seemed like Rory wasn't maybe as fire and brimstone at Monahan as we thought he would be. But yeah, it's just I would be really surprised if he can continue in this role, having blindsided the players that he's supposed to be working for. I just don't know how you can survive that from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah, and I saw that one of the members of the policy board was planning on resigning, but then waited for Jay Monahan to be able to come back from the health issue. And he is now resigning, and it's all because he doesn't believe that this should all be happening and doesn't like the situation whatsoever.
Well, they're going to put, if they put $5 billion into this thing, is $1 billion of that 50 players getting the $200,000 guarantee that the Live guys got? And I'm guessing, okay.
$200 million.
Yeah, $200 million. Yeah. I mean, if it's 50 players getting the $200 million, does that, with this $1 billion of, I'm guessing here,
right?
But if 50 prominent players all of a sudden get $200 million to make them whole, which is kind of what they've implied, well, he'll be very popular. I mean, that's the reality.
I think that's what it's basically going to come down to. Is he able to make it lucrative enough for them that they will look beyond it?
Yeah, I mean, because no matter how, if Jay Monahan says, listen, whether you like how this went or not, the people that went to Live got their $200 million to go to Live. So the top 50 of you guys that stayed loyal to us, you're getting the $200 million too. I don't think they're going to dislike him for very long. That's a lot of money, and I mean, whatever the number is, I mean, I think And one of the things that came out of the congressional hearings yesterday, Lauren, was that the players who are loyal are going to be made whole, and are going to be given the money that the ones who weren't loyal got.
Yeah, if I was one of the members of the PGA Tour that had been loyal, I would be upset that the live guys just get to come right back. When my tour specifically said, if you leave, you are not able to come back. You will not get World Tour points, and you won't be in the rankings, all those things. Like, there is no way that you can come back without some sort of punishment. Oh, no, wait, never mind. They were just welcome back. Like, that would still bother me. I don't care how much money you give me.
Well, and I don't doubt that they don't feel the same way you do. But the $200 million would make me it would bother me less, because if nothing else, by the way, that's $200 million I wasn't going to make if none of this happened. I mean so I'm now financially way better. I'm now way better off. If I'm Justin Thomas, I'm suddenly way better off financially than it would have been if none of it happened, which I think's kind of where they're going to try and go.
I think it's the only direction Monahan can go, is to make it so lucrative that the players just basically have to say, you know what, Jay never really asked for this fight. You know, it's not like he went out and he was reacting to what what was happening around him and what our challenges were. And was it handled well? No, it wasn't handled well. But look at where we are now as we cash our $200 million checks. My guess is that's probably about the only way that, because that's just such a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, $200 million, if you're a pro golfer, I mean, that is just such an extraordinary amount of money. Obviously, it's generational wealth.
Right.
I would be surprised if, and I don't know that the number will be that high.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out.
But if it is, then I would think that would buy Jay Monahan a lot of support.
Yeah, I would think it would as well. Take a break. Lauren wraps the program in news and notes right after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This is Brent Musburger's VSIN Action Update on 1010XL, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The Tampa Bay Rays are the betting favorite to capture the American League as baseball's second half begins on Friday. The Rays with the best record in the AL, plus 210. Houston, plus 440. Texas, who leads the AL West, also at plus 440. The Yankees are plus 900. Over in the National League, the Atlanta Braves plus 145 to head to the World Series, while the LA Dodgers are plus 210. The Arizona Diamondbacks plus 1,200. Philadelphia Phillies also plus 1,200. The Braves are the betting favorite to capture the World Series at plus 360. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VC.
Hun, the drain really smells.
Yeah, wow, it does.
I think it's getting backed up. What should we do? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yes, I did. Duck Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Need help with a plumbing issue at your home or business? Just call the Duck.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that's been chosen as the exclusive pest control provider for the brand-new state-of-the-art Miller Electric Performance Center. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their effectiveness in keeping spiders, roaches, bugs, and termites out. When I trust them for my family and the Jags trust them for their business, then you can too. For the best service in town, call my friends at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the AFC South champion, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Did you know the 2023 Honda CR-V Hybrid never needs to be plugged in? The onboard system charges the batteries for you. When you think Honda, think hybrid. Good for the environment, great for your budget. Visit your local Honda dealer to experience the CR-V of the future today.
We've been telling you for almost a year about Nathan's Family Chiropractic and the 100-Year Lifestyle Network. If chronic back or joint pain is keeping you down, don't listen to me. Listen to what Jacksonville is saying about Dr. Alan Nathan.
The stem cell treatment took the pain away.
Changed my life. It's awesome.
Your body just works better when it's aligned. We're believers.
His no-needle regenerative protocols are giving people their lives back. Get yours back too. Go to the pro in the know. Don't do another cortisone injection. He's one of us, helping all of us for the past 25 years. For more info, drnathans.com.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all. Selling or pawning, get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
When an all-pro lineman serves up sausage and stories, it's gotta be Lunch with Leon.
When you're NFL players, you do a lot of dumb things.
Brought to you by the Sausage Dudes. Sausage with a purpose. Weekdays on 1010XL.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here, and I want to know, are your drafty windows letting all that cool air right back outside? Will they protect your home from Florida's unpredictable weather? If not, then it's time for the peace of mind that comes only with Pella Windows and Doors. Pella offers durable wood, fiberglass, and vinyl products in various styles and designs to best complement your home. So visit the Pella of Jacksonville showroom on Phillips Highway next to Tesla, or find them at PellaJacks.com. That's Pella Windows and Doors at PellaJacks.com.
Men, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. 98% of men see instant results on their first office visit. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Men are even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
But that's not all. For a limited time only, call Prime Men's Medical Center now, and your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Summer Nights, presented by One to One Financial, is an evening affair benefiting Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. Saturday, August 26th. Enjoy an evening at the beautiful Glass Factory as you sip premium cocktails. Dance the night away with live swing music from Bold City Classics. Taste delicious dishes from local restaurants and win exciting auction packages. For details and tickets, go to tinyurl.com/2023 Summer Nights.
I'm Dr. Mitchell Yass, the most unknown world-renowned expert on pain elimination. That's right, elimination. If you've tried medications, injections, physical therapy, chiropractic, even surgery, and still experience pain, then say yes to Yass. I have successfully used the Yass method for over 30 years to help thousands reclaim their lives. To learn more, call me at 904-906-YASS. Let's end your pain and say yes to Yass.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. We're your local family jeweler for 46 years in Jacksonville with a huge selection of diamonds, gemstones, and pre-owned Rolex watches. And Monahan Jewelers is your store for expert jewelry repair turned around in 1 or 2 days. Most jewelry stores take 2 weeks or more, and many stores send your jewelry somewhere else for repair. At Monahan Jewelers, our jewelry repair is done in-house by expert craftsmen, and Monahans can turn around most repairs in a day or two. So bring your jewelry repair to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Denny Thompson here. Are you a home builder looking for a reliable low-voltage partner? Look no further than Tyson Sound and Security. They've been working hard with large and small builders for 15 years. Here's why they are the top choice. They will enhance your home buyer's home experience by offering custom home design appointments, and your budget stays intact while they deliver top-quality services. Builders, send your plans over today to bid. Tyson Sound and Security, security and home automation experts.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
What's going on in the world? It's time for Frangie Show news and notes. Here's Lauren Brooks.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to start in the world of Major League Baseball. That's where we started the show to begin with. Last night's crowd of 47,159 at the All-Star Game sure seemed to be chanting, "Come to Seattle," during both of Shohei Ohtani's at-bats. They'd love for him to become a Mariner. What happens with Shohei?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lauren. My gut tells me he stays in Los Angeles, and either the Angels somehow find a way to pay him because he's the most generational guy they'll ever have, or he winds up with the Dodgers. I somehow think that he lives in the same house or whatever Riviera Beach $22 million chalet he has. I think it's going to be one of the two Los Angeles teams. Hayes, that's my gut.
I agree. I think it's going to be the Dodgers.
Gibby?
Yeah, I think it's the Dodgers. If George Steinbrenner was still alive, he would make every effort to make sure that Ohtani wears pinstripes. But it's interesting. Baloo had Jay Mariotti on when some of you guys were out last week, I think it was, and he said that the way they view Ohtani in California, because that's where Jay is that Anaheim, where he is like the JV team. The Dodgers are the big time. We know that, but how interesting how the Angels are viewed there. And he's got to come up to the varsity, the big time team, and that's the Dodgers.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see if he does get traded or if he enters into free agency at the end of the season. Did you see this, Frank? Major League Baseball is open to considering the possibility of adding a few seconds to the pitch clock in the postseason.
I did not see that. Is that right?
Yes.
No, I didn't. I think it's smart. I'm not saying they should automatically do that, but I think this is the first year, and I think it's smart to be open-minded to. If we got it wrong by a couple seconds, we don't want to decide an important postseason game by calling a strike three on a guy if maybe they need a few more seconds. So, Hayes, I don't know that I've watched it close enough to know. Well, I have watched it close, but I don't know that I've counted enough to know if they need 2 more seconds. But I like the fact that they're open-minded to making sure because it's year one to get it right.
I'd have zero problem with it. It seems like it's been fantastic, and that you haven't really seen any controversy from it. So the players, to their credit, have embraced it enough to where it's not affecting them. But I would hate to see a postseason game greatly affected because of it. And by the time you get to the playoffs, then I think everybody sort of relaxes. It's like that's more of a this is the playoffs, a little different than a regular season game. It's not one of 162 anymore. I'm willing for the game to go a little bit longer.
I would have thought, too, and Gibby weigh in here, I would have thought the pitch clock would kind of be like the play clock in football. I would have thought it would be a little bit like that. I would have thought it would be, okay, the back judge watches it, but if the quarterback's sort of getting the snap off when it hits 0, they let it go. You have to have delay of game in football, you have to be a clear second past it. Gibby, it hadn't been like that in baseball.
No.
If you touch that thing, they call it a ball or strike. I'm surprised they're not lenient the way the football people are.
Well, I think eventually they might be. I think in year one, it's like this is the rule. We're sticking to this. We're strict. We're stringent on this. This is what the rule is year one.
Good point.
And then as it develops, they may be more lenient on it in the next coming years. But I think adding a second or two to the playoffs, I like that because – in these playoff games, it's like let's let the moment breathe a second, and let's 3-2 pitch, everybody's on their feet. Let's let the pitcher give him another second or two, the batter another second or two. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't mind it either. You don't want a game being decided on a rules violation. All right, in the world of college football, offensive lineman Fletcher Westphal, 6'8", 335 pounds, by the way, committed to Florida over Clemson and Georgia earlier this week. And today, Kendall Jackson from Gainesville announced he's staying in his hometown, the defensive lineman. So in the 2024 24/7 recruiting rankings, Florida is still third behind Georgia and Ohio State, Hayes, ahead of Michigan and USC. That's a pretty good spot to be. Can Florida get even higher?
I don't know that they can get any higher.
Okay.
They certainly aren't going to catch Georgia, and I don't believe they're going to catch Ohio State. But I think the biggest thing for Florida is when you look at it, I think there is a good chance they can stay in the top 5. Michigan's 4th, but they have 25 commitments. Florida only has 19. USC has 17. They're 5th, so maybe they could catch Florida. But, I mean, Penn State's 6th with 22. That's 3 more than Florida. Notre Dame is 7. They have 1 more than Florida. And I don't think that there's enough big-time guys left out there that those schools are going to get. So I think Florida is, if these 19 hold, that's the key. If these 19 hold, then I think Florida's going to produce a top 5 class because Alabama's going to catch them. They're 14th right now on those rankings, but they've only got 12 commits. So by the time they get 7 more and get to 19 where Florida is, my guess is they'll pass Florida.
Okay.
So I think if you're Florida, you're sitting there and saying maybe USC, probably Alabama, and you're probably not catching Georgia or Ohio State. But I think he could absolutely have a top 5 recruiting class, which for Billy Napier would be gold if he is able to secure it.
Hayes, you said something, I think during the break we were talking. I don't know where they finished numbers-wise, but the only way to catch the great teams anymore is to get the great players. Yeah. And I can tell you the University of Georgia, let me give you the last years under Mark Richt, okay? Starting with 09, which would have been his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, his 9th year, okay? This is the total losses for Georgia. Okay, starting with 09. 5, 7, 4, 2, 5, 3, 3. Okay? They went to the Capital One, the Outback, the Belk, the Tax Slayer, the Capital One again, the Chick-fil-A. Those are the bowls Georgia went to down the stretch with Mark Richt, who wasn't a bad coach. But that's what he went to. Kirby Smart got there and went 8-5 his first year, and then 13-2, 11-3, 12-2, 8-2 because of the pandemic, 14-1, 15. Kirby Smart, the only way he was going to catch Alabama, and he did, was by recruiting the same kind of players that Alabama had been getting. It's not rocket science. There's one way to catch them, and that's to get the kind of players they're getting. And the only way Billy Napier is going to catch or even make up ground on Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson is to get the kind of players they get, and it looks like he's doing that. That's the bottom line.
Speaking of Georgia, as Hayes mentioned yesterday, Kirby Smart met with select media members. Here was his quote: "We take these allegations extremely serious. I take these allegations extremely serious. We do not tolerate sexual misconduct in our organization. I'm a football coach. I'm responsible for this program, and it starts with me. I see this through a lens of I have a wife and a daughter. When I think about these situations, I think about them. It's personal to me. I will not tolerate false accusations that this program or this university condones sexual misconduct. We have no tolerance for sexual assault or abuse. Never have and never will," end quote.
Yeah, necessary comment from him. I mean, there's Georgia. A lot of times when your program starts beating everybody, people look a little closer under the hood. That's just what they do. And I think that's happening with Georgia a little bit, and Kirby had to try and get out in front of it.
Yeah, and again, it's smart. He knows that next week is SEC football media days. So what do? You bring in the reporters that you know are going to be going, that you know are going to be asking those questions, and you give them that story now, so that they're focusing on other things once they're in Nashville. So that was very smart, and I think the comments are sincere. So. Obviously, he's still going to be asked about it by, the guy from Little Rock, Arkansas, and, all that. The guys that get up and ask questions from various parts of the South are still going to ask Kirby Smart that stuff. But I think for his core reporting base, unless something else happens, which I can't imagine will, it's pretty much covered territory, which helps. So I think it enables Kirby Smart to go to Nashville and say that, kind of echo the comments he made there, and then kind of let it just settle. When he's asked about it, I think he's basically going to say, well, I've addressed it, and, we're moving on. And, I think that's the right way to handle it. So I would be surprised if his tenure goes off the tracks. I think this is a blip, and he's going to get it corrected, and you won't be hearing about off-the-field stuff with Georgia in the coming years.
Agreed.
I saw Matt Hayes tweet something along the lines of, if you don't want it to keep happening, you need to increase the punishment. And I agree with that. If the guys feel like, if I speed, I'm just going to get a slap on the wrist and move right along, I'm still going to get to play and win national championships, then they're not going to have the reason to not speed.
What happens is, let me tell you the speeding thing. I talked to a buddy of mine today, he made a great point. I know when I was in college, my car probably didn't go 50 miles an hour. I had an old car that I was just trying to get it. I was trying to make it through college, Well, I think a lot of these kids are no different than I was. I don't know what you drove in college, but I know that that all of a sudden, if you'd have put me, and I spent all my life driving a car that barely ran, and if you'd have put me in a beautiful $80,000 whatever with all the fancy stuff around it, I'd have been tempted to go crazy. You know, I mean, not on purpose. I just would have. Now I wouldn't have gone 80 and a 50 all the time, but I've been tempted to do. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think living the new life that these guys live is part of learning how to handle it, and coaches seeing players do it rampantly is learning how to handle them. I really do.
Yeah, and like I said, I think taking someone's car away, that sounds like a parent's job, but if you're a coach, you might have to take their car away in order to make it stop. Last thing real quick before we say hello to Rick Ballou. Oklahoma State's Mike Gunday is always good for a quote. Big 12 Media Day is going on. We have almost gotten to the point, considering NIL and the transfer portal, like religion and politics. It's not even worth discussing anymore.
You know what? Good for him. I'll say this. I'm about tired of it.
Yep.
I'm certainly about. I mean, NIL and portal, we've talked about it to death. I agree.
We certainly have. Let's say hello to Ricky B.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping 1010XL rolling with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
Rick Ballou is here. Did you enjoy that All-Star game last night, Rick? Watch it?
Yeah, I didn't give it my undivided attention.
You didn't?
I didn't. And I'm disappointed by that.
I am too. I'm disappointed.
I was on the air for a lot of it. We had it on, but I was, nothing seems to be like it used to be.
Right.
And certainly the Midsummer Classic was growing up. I mean, that was can't-miss stuff. It seemed like it was really important to win it. Everything just seemed kind of crazy with the interviews, the uniforms. It's almost like a dog and pony show.
More silly than important, you think?
Yeah. Which I guess is fine because it's an exhibition game. But again, when I grew up, I'd be like begging my dad, "Can I please stay up an extra half hour or catch another inning or two?" There were so many Hall of Famers in the 70s and 80s. It felt like it was something that you absolutely had to watch in the summer. But I honestly haven't felt that way.
Yeah, and you're probably like me. Wear your uniforms, your normal uniforms.
Yeah.
The way we always grew up. And I'm with you. I watched every bit of it last night. But I'm like you. I liked it more back.
Why do we keep screwing up a good thing?
Well, because everybody tells us you got to get. Everyone tells baseball. People want crazy uniforms because young people love crazy uniforms.
Yeah.
And people want mic'd up because young people like mic'd up stuff that they see on YouTube. And I think people are going after a different demo.
I'm just talking about it.
Agree or not, I think that's the answer to the question.
Yeah, and I kind of like the new wave of baseball. I kind of like the showboating and the pointing to the heavens and stopping and staring if you hit a home run down 7-1 to make it 7-2. I mean, by all means, stop and stare. But it just seems like everything is changing in sports and in life, and a lot of it I don't agree with.
Yeah, I'm with you. What's coming up tonight?
Maybe that.
Good. I hope it is.
Actually, I got a lot of golf talk I want to get into, and I got something on college football that I think the listeners will enjoy. I mean, it's here. You guys in Nashville next week, and then I go to Charlotte a week from Monday for the Atlantic Coast Conference. So we'll do something with that as well, plus dive into the Jaguars with a guest coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. So we should be really busy here. Looking forward to it.
All right, Rick Ballou goes into the night. Folks, that'll do it for our program. Tomorrow, live from Island Wing Company over here, right?
That's right, Southside.
Southside Island Wing Company. Come say hello. We'd love to see you. We are out of here. Don't go anywhere, though. Rick Ballou comes up right now. For Hayes, Lauren, and Gibby, I'm Frank Frangie. Have a great night.
XL takes you behind the microphone.
Who's the dumbass?
Whoa! Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
What's that, dumbass?
Say it again.
You want me to?
I dare you.
The Drill.
Dumbass.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to one commercial today, listen to this one.
Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are doing it again, recognizing the local heroes in our community with a brand new car. That's right. We'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Nominate a law enforcement officer, firefighter, EMT, nurse, teacher, veteran, or your local WOW hero. Head to localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of